Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over.
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
He got three.
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Mackinac, he's got 3. Yo. I'm moving out of the way. Yo.
That's dope.
Yo.
That is dope, Tone. That is. I want all. That is dope.
Legendary WALLART officially in the building. Look, you can see. Look at my hand. You know how big my hand is?
Yes.
Look at my hand. That's a big wall of Kobe right there.
That's dope.
A big wall of Kobe right there.
That is dope. I ain't gonna argue that.
I'm gonna send you the link if you want this stuff. They got music, athletes, everything. I'm gonna send you the promo code SportsFluent, get you 25% off, free shipping. It's fire.
That's dope.
Fire.
That is dope. And I'm not surprised that that's the guy on your wall neither. I'm not surprised at that at all. That's your guy. So I won't argue that. I'm surprised Magic ain't up there, but okay.
So in fairness, they didn't have Magic. The first thing they said, what do you want? I said Magic. They said you could custom make one, which is also like the fact that that's an option is you can custom make something. I was like, oh, or here's what we have. So they had Kobe, LeBron, Magic, they had Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, like some others, but they didn't have Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, do I risk putting me being the creative guy? And then I was like, or nah, just that. Because the colors were right. It was just
Kobe.
I love
mm-hmm. That's
and
dope.
And just in case anybody says I'm a hater, I know my son gave this to me, but then I have this just ready to be like, bam.
Yes, that's still there. That hasn't gone anywhere.
You want to see something? Something super funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to post it on TikTok, but it's hilarious.
Right.
I have, everybody calls me a LeBron hater, KD hater, this here. I have 3 dudes that are because I posted the LeBron James his Olympic rankings for Team USA, how he was like first in minutes. I want to say, was he first or second in points, first or second in rebound? Like it was first, first in everything, right?
Right.
And so I posted it and like, you LeBron nut gargler, you Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Have you ever heard of 6-0, buddy? And they attack me. They're attacking me. I'm like, how sensitive? Like I thought the LeBron fan base was sensitive, which is why I pick on him more because it's fun.
It's so easy too, by the way, Tone. It's ridiculously easy.
The Jordan fan base, wow! Like, I mean, you don't even look to see my content; you just go nuts. It was crazy.
Now remember, Tone. It's like a cult following when it comes to James and Jordan.
No, it's not like it is.
It's 100% that, because once you decide that you are part of this, whether you down with James or you down with Jordan, once you decide, it's almost like getting with the mob. Like you in, it's in blood, and you can't get out. And no matter what anybody says about the other guy, your guy is the guy. Now I do my best to be as objective as possible. I do my best, Tone, not to get involved with these dudes like that. But the fact that, I'm a James guy, it kind of spills over to all of us that, okay, we're all like that. Okay, no, we're not. There are some of us who recognize greatness, right? There's some of us who recognize how awesome other guys are. And Tone, if you don't mind, I just want to address this one really quickly. Big Ball, when he says, chill, be for real. How good is Brock Purdy if he played for Carolina? Big Ball, how good is anybody if they played for Carolina? In your estimation, are you telling me that Bryce Young, if he played for the 49ers, he'd be doing the same thing that Brock Purdy's doing? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I can tell you right now, that couldn't be more wrong. But anyway, Tone, as I was saying.
So you're gonna be very, very proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be very, very proud of me. One, you'll be disappointed in me first, because user 13 user 1310204491843 is calling me an old man, and he's telling me what I believe. So apparently I believe that totals don't mean anything because I constantly trying to discredit LeBron James.
That's not true.
I said no. I said I don't discredit totals entirely. I said I just don't use them as my sole kind of only reason for saying anything. And he goes, well, it tells you how good a player was. And I said, in certain cases, it can tell you something. I said, but
part of the story, sure.
However, I would never say Bill Cartwright is a better scorer than Gilbert Arenas, even though for their careers, Bill Cartwright scored more points.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're a hater. You're a hater, old man. Old man. And the second, I'm like, so is old man? It's so funny.
That's
old
the
man,
immediate go-to, Tone. That's the immediate go-to.
It's
Yes.
an insult?
Is that's what it is. That's the immediate.
It's not an insult. Guess what? Because guess what? I'm an old man. And from this day forward, until the day I die, I will be an old man. You, sir, I know I'm fighting with user 1345764. You, son, aren't an old man, but guess what? One day if you're lucky, one day you will be.
Right.
But you'll never be more fluent. But no, that's not. What you're going to be proud of me is.
He actually could be more fluent if he listened a little bit. How about that?
No, they don't. They don't. The cult don't listen. The cult don't listen. But that being said, this is what you're going to be proud of me with. I did something that I've never done before.
What's that?
I did something that I've never done before. Now, do you want to know what I did and then why I did it, or why I did it and then what I did?
You've done a couple things that you've never done before. Like, for example, ladies and gentlemen, Tone doesn't rank guys who are active players, but he put James in his active list. He has done that. So there are a few things that Tone has never done before that he has done. Now, I want to know why you did this before I know what you did. That's what I want to know. Let's start.
So in my comments, I've been trying to be more active. I'm just not like these guys want to battle in comments. And they type, and I'm like, I've never been one to do that one because I just don't like. I'm not on my phone that much. Right. And two, I type and it's like, well, I only have a limited space, so I can't really make my point. And then it's like they'll only like I'll say, for an example, this was to someone different, but they say, well, what is your GOAT criteria? And I say, well, I look at offensive stats, averages and totals, defensive stats, averages and totals. I look at advanced stats. I look at their intangibles. I look at their accolades. I look at their peaks, their primes, the totals for their career, like pretty much everything.
Sure.
And the response I got, that's why you don't know nothing about hoops. You base everything on intangibles.
What?
You're cooked, bro. You're cooked. And I'm like, huh? Is that what I said? Then to go back into the comments and be like, that's not what I said. So I'm just like, and I get trapped sometimes because I've been trying to comment more, and I get trapped sometimes because I start the back and forth, and then it's like, what am I doing? It's such a time suck.
Yes.
So that being said, I got sucked into one of these black holes with a moron, because that's the only way I can explain someone who doesn't understand 1 + 1 is 2, right? You're a hater. No, 1 + 1 is 2, bro. And he brought up someone else in my comments, Mrs. Fluent.
Here we go.
And so I said, hey, we can talk about a lot of things. Say whatever it is that you want about me.
Right.
We don't talk family. That's at period. Or else I get upset. Well, and then he starts to backpedal. I only said that because I said, I don't care why you said it. I almost felt like pulling a Will Smith at me and get my wife's name out. But no, I said, it doesn't matter why you said it. That's a line that we don't cross.
Right.
That sounds like a threat. Okay. If you want it to be a threat, it's a threat. Well, I live in Toronto. I dare you to challenge me to my face. And I said, great. What's your address? And then the adult in me, the old man in me went, someone's going to punch this guy in the face.
For
and
you.
Here's a record No, yeah, and you know,
I know.
he's
I know what you're talking about, though. Keep
in his mom's basement typing away. No, he's not going to be outside. But if he ever does come outside, someone's going to punch him in his face. Oh, it was Fluent.
Because we got
Here's the proof.
we got the paper trail.
So I went, nope. I deleted all the comments. I said, nope, I'm not. I'm deleting the. Oh, typical of you to delete the paper trail. I said, nah, I'm just being smart. Deleted the paper trail. And then he tried to push the button again, and I went, nope, I'm gonna pull something out of your book. Blocked.
See you later.
First person ever.
Nope.
Ever, as you've been telling me to do this, and I'm like, nah. But the troll's just like,
I've actually gotten even less tolerant. Like they'll say stuff to me, and not necessarily triggering me, because the trigger button for me when it comes to trolls, it isn't anymore. It's just whenever I see something that doesn't make any sense, like I did that blind ranking thing, the small forwards, right? So I do the blind ranking small forwards. In the process of me doing the blind ranking small forwards, I had Dominique Wilkins over Carmelo Anthony. You got Dominique Wilkins over Carmelo Anthony. Yep. We're done with the 90s. You're an old man. You don't know basketball. Blocked. Goodbye. I don't waste any time with these dudes. I don't.
That stuff. You know me. I'm tolerant. Because I know where they're coming from. Right? They're coming from a place of one of two things. One, they just don't know, and the whole reason I started Sports Fluent was to give them the information. The other place they're coming from is they're trying to get a reaction, and so if I have time, I buy into it a little bit and I have a little fun with it. And they think I'm getting mad, and so they feel good that I'm getting them riled up, and I'm feeling good because I'm sitting there laughing, going, "This person actually thinks this is serious." So it's kind of fun. But don't bring up. That's the line you don't cross. You don't bring up family.
Soon as he would have brought up the missus, blocked. We're done. I wouldn't even entertain any more conversation.
Yeah, well, the protector in me, the second he did that, got me. It did that triggered me and got me angry.
Of course.
Got me angry right away. And I'm like, ain't no way, because I don't care. I don't care if it's Hercules. I'm punching him in the face if he says something about my wife. Now he might kill me afterwards. That's fine, but I ain't letting that go without just letting.
Absolutely.
So I thought you'd be very proud of me because I keep telling you we're done it. And
I'm actually. You get the golf clap, Tone.
Of course, it's someone with a private. Right, their account is private, and when they're wrong, they disappear. It's one of those guys that, like, they're wrong, they disappear, and then they say, "I cooked you, bro. I cooked you, bro. You always lose to me." I'm like, it's like that guy. Remember that guy who's like, "I'm gonna come and debate you,"
and they never show up.
I block those people too. I'm talking to you in the comments. Oh, well, I'm not coming when you tell me to come. I'm gonna come debate. Well, you said name the time and place, fool.
Well, wait a minute. I don't think that.
If anyone knows this guy and you find him, you tell me where he lives. I
don't come when you come calling. You're the one who said name the time and place.
Name the time and place,
which suggests to me that you got time whenever. That's essentially what you're telling me. You got time whenever. So if I tell you, all right, let's go tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow at 12 o'clock. That's essentially what you're telling me. So
I'm just gonna hang outside their house and I'll be like,
hey, you know what? I've got this water, and we've got this red version. We got a red bottle, and we got a David Beckham version here. Yeah. Then we got a blue version.
And a blue version. Yeah, we need the blue version.
Yes, absolutely, Tone. You get the Tone. You get the golf clap from me. You actually don't get the Tone. Nice job. About time. You get the golf clap from me, and the reason why you get the golf clap is because you're starting to come around. Like, we ain't there yet. No, we ain't there yet. So sure, Tone, that's fine. Like you made a layup with your left hand for the first time. Okay, that's great.
Okay, I just get a little bit. All right. Well, that being said, one, the timing is perfect. Goat James Kingdom, the timing is perfect, my brother.
Peace, God.
James Gucci Williams, NBA referee, who has confirmed with me, and I'm going to make a nice little video for Goat James Kingdom, that when you catch the basketball and you jab step to the right away from the basket and then come back around to the left, 2 dribbles and lay it up, the person that passed you the ball does not get an assist. So he will be on the show September 24th And we're going to show him that clip, and he will. I've already showed him the clip, and he's already confirmed that with me. So I'm very excited about that one. So you're wrong again. And two, we're going to ask him a bunch of other questions. NBA referee James Gucci. Do you know why they call him Gucci?
I don't know. I don't.
So apparently, he is Gucci Mane's doppelganger.
He does look like Gucci Mane. He does look like him.
I'm gonna have the picture side by side, and we're gonna ask him. So he's gonna be on September 24th. I'm gonna show him. We're gonna show him a bunch of video clips, get him to break down some analysis, have a good chat with the NBA referee. It's the one thing. Like, we've had players, we've had coaches, we've had scouts, we've had agents.
Right.
I've never had a referee on, so this is gonna be really, really, really cool.
What are you talking about? You talk to a referee every week. What are you talking about? One of your best friends is a referee. What are you talking about, Tom?
Your ref. I mean, we've never had an active NBA referee in the building for us.
What up, nephew?
What's up, baby? Hey, check this out. Do you like? And referees don't keep stats. You're correct, but they know the rules of the game, my friend. And we have a scorekeeper who will tell us the exact same thing. Hey, I want to ask you something. Did you notice anything different? Say what's up to Uncle Chill.
Hi.
He's tired. He's from baseball. I don't know if you noticed this. Can I change it now? Did you notice this? Do you see the edges
from my nephew over here?
Rounded? No, right here.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, they're pointy. Now they're round. We got new. Look at this. I could do squares when we get lots of people on. I could do circles. Man, we got crazy.
Just so you guys know, when Tone starts playing with stuff, I'm telling you, he becomes a mad scientist at this point. This is who Tone is. I tell you, that's why the graphic stuff, I leave it all to him. And when he finds something new and he starts playing with stuff, oh man, it becomes something completely different. You got to get out the room and let him go. You have to.
Yes, this channel. I don't know what channel you're on, but the Sports Fluent and the Chilltown Hoops. We stream Fluent and Chill every Tuesday at 8-ish. Because of me. Every Tuesday, yes, we absolutely stream it on just subscribe to both, become a member of both. I'm sorry, you get cool stuff from both.
Yep.
Of course, go check out legendary wall art. I will put the link everywhere in the upcoming days. Listen, we're gonna get into basketball. We're 100% going to talk a whole lot of basketball because we've got the offseason stars that moved and they're going to suck. We've got we got Trae Young, if he was 6'8", being the GOAT. We got 4 players, peak versus prime. We're going to talk about peak versus prime. What's the difference? Which is better? Does height matter when it comes to being a great player? We're going to talk about all those things for an hour and a half, the second half of the show. And we're going to invite you guys up and we're going to take your questions. And in 1 second, I'm going to take that super chat. But the super chat, and then right after the super chat, we got to do a little NFL because NFL season kicked off. I got to find out if you're worried about your team or specifically your running back. I am very, 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 very worried about my team that won, even though they didn't score one offensive touchdown. How they put up points?
I didn't see one, Tone. No, I didn't. I did not see one, and I was not overly. Your quarterback looked like he just got the job. That's what he looked. He did just get the job. Yeah, he looked like it. He looked like he just got the job. This is my first day on the job, so you're gonna have to give me some time to figure this out. That's what he looked like, Tone. So we'll get into that.
Let me take the super chat, but I also will say context clues. I did not hear what the WNBA commissioner said today in an interview, so please tell us because I'd love to talk about that. But first, let's start with the Hall of Famer himself, Will. Super chat, appreciate you. What up, you guys? What up? How do you think the Raptors are going to be this season? Chill, have you ever been down to Toronto? Actually, up, I guess technically because he'd be coming north. Dope city. I've been telling him that every single day because that's where I live. And sending appreciation from London, Ontario. FYI, that's where my brother lives. I'm in London all the time. So what up to Will? So one, I'll answer for you. He's never been to Toronto. I keep trying to get him up here. Myself.
He's going to give me. I am going to come up there too. I am. Yes, I am.
Shaq's up here. Shaq is up here end of this month. You should come, bro. Forget that other thing you're doing. Me, you, and Shaq, we kill this city. We kill this city. So let's talk about the Raptors. I'll start with you. What do you think about the Raptors this season?
I think they're going to be better. The Eastern Conference this season isn't what it was it isn't what it is in the past. A lot of these dudes up here, the Eastern Conference is weak. No, it's not. It's not your Eastern Conference from 2005. It's not your Eastern Conference from 2012. I think the Eastern Conference is top heavy. You got the Celtics, you got the Knicks. I think Cleveland's going to be good. I think Orlando's going to be good. Indiana's going to be good. Philly's going to be good. Miami's going to be good. Then after that, it gets a little tricky, right? And I feel like this season, with Scotty Barnes now being thrusted into the role of being more of the man, I think RJ Barrett is going to be a bigger deal this year than what he was last year. I like the combination of Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett, and to add Quigley into that space. I still think that you got some front court issues you got to handle, because I don't think he's the guy long term. That's why, Tone, I actually had a conversation with Mrs. Fluent that I was hoping that Zach Edey fell in the draft, because I thought he'd be a gift to you guys, right? I ain't even on the idea he's Canadian. I just thought that he was exactly what you guys need.
He's what they need. Listen, Pirtle's not fleet of foot.
No, he isn't.
So you make a guy like add 4, 5, 6 inches to Pirtle, who's a shot blocker. I'm feeling a little bit better. So with that being said, I think that they're going to be better. I think it's going to be hard for them to get in the playoffs, but I don't think that the play-in is unrealistic, considering that I think they're going to be better this year. I think Scotty Barnes takes a leap. I think he gets better this season. I think RJ Barrett, he has a whole season now in Toronto. He understands the system. And I think Grady Dick, I think that him now also has to take that leap of getting better, being more of a shooter. I'm not sure if they're a playoff team, but I think that they could knock on the play-in door with guys like Davion Mitchell. I am not on the fence, Tone, when I tell you, man, I said this to you already. I think Davion Mitchell I think he's starting point guard, and I love the fact that you got him now. And with him now being on the crew, I think he's going to help you guys a lot. So here's the thing. Toronto is one of those teams that in this Eastern Conference, and I'll get to the other teams in a second, they could finish 3rd, they could finish 12th. And that's the problem, is that they could finish 3rd or they could finish 12th. Because I've already said.
You think they could be that good, Tone? You think they could be that good?
Well, I'm going to tell you why I say they could finish 3rd. Okay. I think that Boston is clear-cut the best team in the East, and they're going back to back, at least to the NBA Finals. I won't go as crazy as to say they're going to win it just yet, but they're going back to the NBA Finals out of the East. Yep. When I look at the other teams in the East, Cleveland is good. They have a lot of pieces, but they still haven't shown. Now, look, let me first add this caveat. I'm assuming everybody's healthy, right? Because obviously, if your best player gets hurt, it changes the dynamic completely. But I'm not completely sold on Cleveland. Every time I jump on that bus with you, they crash it. So I'm not completely sold on Cleveland. I have a lot of question marks about the Knicks. The Knicks, from a talent perspective, look like they've taken the next step, right? Jalen Brunson has proven to be a bona fide star in this league. You're going to have a healthy, hopefully, Mitchell Robinson. You have hopefully a now healthy, and he's great in the regular season, Julius Randle. And now you've added Bridges, a defender. You have the pieces to be successful.
Right.
Which every time that happens in New York scares the heck out of me. Right? What do they do? It's like something's going to happen, right? Like, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Bridges are going to get into a fight over a bottle of vodka, and they're not going to pass to each other. And Brunson be like, "I want my 20 shots a game." Well, sorry, you can only take 10. And it's just like, the coach is going to overwork them. Something's going to happen. So I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I think they're a top They should finish in the top 3, is where they should be. But I'm not sold on the Knicks. So I'm not sold on Cleveland. I'm not sold on the Knicks. I'm not sold on Indiana. Orlando, I like a lot too. But again, young. You never know what can happen with a young team. Mm-hmm. So Toronto, then I look at Toronto and I see Barnes, who's now, entering into that time frame where in the next year or two, according to your math, that's who he's going to be, right? Year 5 is who you're going to be. So he's getting to that point. IQ, I love. I'm glad that they kept him. They kept Bruce Brown, so they've got that perimeter defender. Do they trade him for pieces or keep him? I don't know. I love the Davion Mitchell addition. I love that. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm assuming everybody healthy. So I really like what the Raptors of RJ Barrett. You're higher on him than I am, but I do like what I saw in the Olympics, right? He's not someone who's scared to take the last shot. He's not someone who, he wants to lead a team. So there's a lot of really good pieces. Front court, again, the question with Pirtle. I'd love Pirtle being my backup center, right? Can they find a center somewhere that can start, or can they play small ball? I don't know. So there's a lot
Kelly
of
O. Because it's not Kelly O.
It's not Kelly Olynyk, although he's great for the team, et cetera, but he's not your starting center. So there's some question marks there, but we're in a league where you can hide the center more than ever before because it's not 4 teams have an actual center playing center. So they have that ability that if they stay healthy, they can go on a run, but they're a team that if they're knocking down their shots, they're going to blow you out by 20. If they're not, they're going to lose by 30. So that's the situation they're stuck in. So I think they're going to be fun to watch. Right. I think they're if they take that next step in development, they'll be okay. But it's more so why I say 3 to 12. It's more about what the other teams do. If they stay consistent, if they stay healthy, they're going to be fighting for a play-in for that 9-10 spot. If things go, I guess, their way, like Philadelphia, we're going to talk about Paul George going to Philly. Right? That move is straight hot garbage. And so if Embiid doesn't stay healthy and play that team's going to implode like that because Paul George is not a guy that uplifts your team. Sorry. He's not. And he's going to break down. So he's going to play 60 games and B's going to play 55 games. If that happens, forget them. Again, they stay healthy and both play 80 games. Now, but you think Nick Nurse is going to be happy with Paul George's defense?
Tone. From the tone of your voice, and I just got one question, and I want to get right back to this. Tone, you sound like you think this Philadelphia thing is going to be a disaster.
Hot garbage. Hot garbage in Philly.
You think this thing is going to be a disaster? Now, the thing I wanted to ask you when you think about Toronto, okay, sure, I understand the 3 to 10 logic. Tone, what are they missing that makes them a bona fide playoff team? I ain't talking about winning the NBA championship because you need so many things to go your way to be a bona fide. Okay, we're anywhere between 5 and 8. We're a legit playoff team.
Scotty Barnes taking the next step, and a big. Any big, power forward, center, any big that can play good, consistent minutes, rebound, and contest some shots, and now this team is in contention for a clear-cut playoff berth, meaning a top 6 seed.
So if you call up Indiana and ask for Miles Turner, you guys are a playoff team.
100%. As long as you don't have to give up.
I don't have to give up. I could keep RJ. I could keep Scotty.
If you go like Bruce Brown and a pick.
Right.
For Miles Turner, that team's in the playoffs.
That's a playoff team. Legit.
That's a playoff team. Yeah. 100%.
I don't know if I can argue that. I don't. And I'm not a big Miles Turner fan. I think he's soft.
No, I don't, but they just need one person to give them anything out of that. And again, I'm not knocking Pirtle. Pirtle shoots like 70% from the field.
He's a backup. He's a backup 5-man. That's what he is.
But he's a backup. And yes, I'm exaggerating to make it.
He 100% is a backup 5-man. I
love you.
Hey, little bit. Love you.
Mm-hmm. They're exhausted.
Probably.
She didn't
even say nothing. She just gave you a kiss. Night, daddy. I'll get with you later.
She's been at dance for 5 hours, so she does like 10 competitive dances. Shout out to Coach Hugh Jackson, by the way. His daughter, go check out his daughter Hayden. She's been killing it Like she's a professional dancer. She's doing amazing. So, Coach, I promised them we'd get him on the show. We're going to bring Coach Hugh Jackson out to talk some football in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, she's a dance for 5 hours. Fluent Junior was at baseball for 3 hours. Like and they both run cross country. So they did that first. So day of school, cross country. Then they're dead. They're like, good night. I've never put kids to bed so easy in my life.
See you later.
So what was I saying?
You were talking about Toronto.
Yeah. So I think So as much as I really like Pirtle. Like, but he's
a backup. He's a backup five, Tom.
If I have him for 24 minutes a game as my backup center, I'm feeling really good about that position.
Yeah,
I'm feeling really good about that position.
I don't take
people think that's a knock. It's not a knock. Just some people are starters. Some people are better coming off the bench.
Well,
I want to transition quickly to football because I'm going to get you to talk about your favorite thing. And while I do that, Context Clues sent me what the WNBA commissioner said, so I'm going to read that.
Yeah.
So Christian McCaffrey and your 49ers hurt. Although Jordan Mason, wow.
Yep.
Wow. How you feeling about your 49ers?
Well, we did the same thing, Tone, a couple of years ago when I think it was last year. It was either last year or the year before when our backfield was tricky and Mitchell came in and ran for like 155 yards. It's the luxury of having more than one car. Like if you got one car, if this car breaks down, you're kind of in a bad spot. But I mean, we got one of the best offensive lines. I still think we got the best offensive lineman in the game in Trent Williams. And we got one of the best blocking tight ends in the game. And these guys open up holes for guys. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody can do this. But I think the 49ers have a unique way of developing talent, very much like what Oklahoma City has done with guys. And a guy like Mason, who I think he's great in running in A gaps. He's not a power runner. Like when I think about power runners, I think about Adrian Peterson, Sean Alexander, Beast Mode. I think about violent runners. I don't think that Mason isn't a violent runner, but he's a runner. And if you open up A gaps and C gaps for him, he can get through those gaps and make plays. So this isn't something new with Christian McCaffrey. If you remember, Tone, you and I had this conversation about him when he was in Carolina, breaking down. And one of the main reasons why he was breaking down, you had brought up something about about how he's taking care of himself, like he might not have enough body fat on him. I'm thinking they were running him into the ground, which is what they were doing in Carolina. They were running him into the ground. Well, I feel like with him in San Francisco, well, he's going to get hurt anyway. So we might as well do the same thing. But we also have a backup who, when this isn't working, we could go to him. I think Christian McCaffrey, I think he's a product of the system, but I think everybody is a product of the system. People, they think that that's a bad thing when you say, yo, this guy is a system quarterback. Tone, can you tell everybody at home what Joe Montana played in?
He played in the West Coast offense, one of the greatest systems ever.
I'd like to think that that's a system. Montana was a system quarterback. So a lot of these guys are system quarterbacks, and a lot of these runners are system runners. Emmitt Smith was a system runner. So with that being said, the system works. Hey, Tone, can you also tell the people at home what offense did Michael Jordan play in when he was in Chicago?
That'd be it depends. Under Doug Collins, it was the give it to Mike.
When he played for Phil Jackson, what?
That would be the what we call the Tex Winters triangle offense, although it was invented by somebody else. But anyways, it's a different conversation.
If I'm not mistaken, Tone, that's a system. Is that correct?
That is a system,
and it works just fine. So the fact that a guy is a product of the system, I don't think that negates how good he is. And I love what my boys are doing on the offensive line. I think George Kittle is one of the best blocking tight ends. I think we really took it to the Jets yesterday. I think we scored on 8 straight possessions. I don't like the fact that we ain't score enough in the red zone, Tone. I don't like that. I think we need to score more in the red zone. I think when we get to the 8, when we get to the 12, I think that we got to dial up George in the red zone more. We got a big tight end at 6'5", 6'6". We got to take advantage of him more in the red zone. I think that's a big problem.
I think that's what's going to take Purdy though from and again, I agree with you. Nothing wrong with being a system quarterback, but I think that's what's the next level that Purdy has to figure out is when we're in the red zone, when we're inside the 12, inside the 10, right? Like, who do I got? Well, I got to figure it out myself, but I've got Deebo Samuels. Normally I'll have Christian McCaffrey and I'll have George Kittle. I need to find with my QB coach and my offensive coordinator what plays we can and progressions to get those three guys the ball, because if the ball's in their hand, right? If George Kittle has the ball at the 3, book it. If Deebo Samuel has the ball at the 3 or the 4 yard line, book it, right? If Christian McCaffrey, that's a touchdown. So it's how do we get them the ball with even a little bit of space? I think that's what's going to take him kind of from good to great. And if they figure that out, well, you guys yourself.
I'm pretty confident on that they go over that stuff. So when we're looking at the playbook, even if it's the backup quarterback, I remember when Drew Bledsoe would ask Tom Brady, okay, which plays do you like? I'm sure that they do that with Brock Purdy when we get in the red zone. All right, which ones do you like? The idea, like you just said, I think we got to get George more involved in the game in the red zone. Because at 6'5", 6'6", he's got these cornerbacks on him that are too small. We have to have more fade routes, right? We have to have more running jumps just for him in particular. I
wouldn't mind a trips with you send McCaffrey wide with Deebo and Kittle, and you send them on 3 routes. It's like they can't cover all of them. Coverage is going to get messed up, and just Purdy needs to pick the right one. But I think you're right. And yeah, of course they work on it, but it's not working. So they need to change it.
I thought we did a good job defensively too, keeping the pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I think.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is in a wheelchair, so I was
getting to that tone. I promise you, I was getting to that because people hear the name Aaron Rodgers, and what immediately comes to mind?
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
Best, yeah.
Just so you guys know, he's 40. Okay, he's not 27. He's not 30 years old. He's 40. What he used to have, he doesn't have it anymore. And he's going up against an elite defense, right? So with him going up against an elite defense and elite linebackers, right? And him being able to pick on guys and make plays like he used to, he can't do that anymore. He can't. So when he's getting rushed and flushed out of the pocket and having to run like he used to and make plays, he can't do that like he used to. Well, it's only week 1.
Although, as a Bears fan, he murdered us on this a million times. Is there a better quarterback at getting a touchdown on a delayed penalty?
Oh, keep the clock running. That's him.
How he does that? Yes. Like, it feels like every time there's a delayed penalty, I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers air it out, and I'm like, and I don't even look. I go, touchdown.
Yep. Keep the clock running. Yep. Keep the clock running. That's Aaron Rodgers. We got a free play. Yes.
Yeah. The only thing worse than Aaron Rodgers didn't play that bad when you consider this. Tom Brady stinks. Tom Brady stinks as a color commentator.
Is he? You know what, Tony? I didn't hear him.
Did you miss that game? You know what? Your ears will thank you for it.
I didn't hear. Which game did he do?
The game of the week. I'm gonna draw.
Did he do the Rams Detroit game? No, he's on Fox. I'm sorry. He's not on NBC.
No, he did. Let me. It was you didn't want to listen to it. He's and look, maybe I'm comparing him to Tony Romo, and that's unfair.
Or Peyton Manning.
But even his when the play-by-play guy is calling you out for like not being enthused or excited. When I was watching, it was not good.
I had the mute button on when I was. A lot of the times I'll have on Red Zone. A lot of times I'll have Red Zone on, and I did catch some of the Cleveland Cowboys game, and it was on mute, but I did not hear Tom Brady. No,
he did. Yeah, he did. He did Dallas Cleveland. That's right, Dallas Cleveland.
I did not hear him. I did.
Well, you couldn't hear him. You couldn't hear him because Dallas was winning by so much that all the Dallas Cowboys fans were planning their parade route.
Right.
Yeah, he was not good. So, just I want to get to basketball, but just quickly, if you could recap week 1, what do you think was the biggest Surprise, let down.
I was actually surprised how bad Carolina is. I think they're awful.
Bad? Yeah.
I was surprised at how bad they were. I thought that they would be better. They're gonna ruin Bryce Young. They're gonna ruin that kid. They are doing anything for him. And you could be surprised by a team being bad. You can expect the team to be bad, but you could also. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina went 0-6, 0-18 this year. That wouldn't surprise me if they didn't win one game.
17?
0-17. I'm sorry, not 18. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win one game this year. They're gonna ruin that kid. He's running for his life consistently. He's always running for his life. The fact that he doesn't know how to make reads yet, and he's constantly running for his life. They don't have a consistent wide receiver. Their offensive line is terrible. Their running backs, their running game is almost non-existent. I did not think that they would be that bad. I was actually surprised, like, wow, this Carolina team is awful. They're going to be bad, so I don't think they're going to win. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win a game this year. I wouldn't be.
I'll give them 2 wins. I think they'll stumble and fall into 2, but you're right. I think they're bad. I would say for me, the things that I'll stick to some positive. New Orleans, 47 points, shocked the hell out of me. Saquon Barkley, just out of the gate being that good. I just thought he'd being.
Why does that surprise you though, Tone?
Because being older as a running back,
right.
Going to a new team, I just thought he'd ease into it. He looked like he was ready to go. I thought he'd start off slower. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And he just he's like, I'm ready. Let's do this. What else surprised me?
Focal point of the offense right from the begining. I like.
Oh, I know. Not that this surprised me, but I loved watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that beautiful throw by Anthony Richardson?
You mean off his back foot in the pocket at 70 yards?
Yeah, 60 yards in the air, just like I was like, damn.
And he hit him on a dime too, by the way.
And
he
hit
him on the.
There was some. I forgot how much I missed watching football, and I was literally glued to my TV Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Like, it was fantastic.
Yes.
Monday. So I got the clip. So I'm gonna see. Just tell me if you can hear this. I'm gonna see. I'm trying something new. Tell me if it works. We'll listen together. I haven't listened to it.
Before you cue that up. Before you cue that up, how you feel about Buttertone? It's not bad. Here we go. It's not bad, Tone. Tone. Stay with me, Tone. It's not bad, okay?
As I said to Hugh Jackson and to Butter himself last year at the end of the season, I said, "Hey, I will now call you Baker Mayfield. He's in a situation. He's playing well. Baker Mayfield. You said you'd try to make some time for us. The invitation is open. The fact that he watches the show, I think, is pretty cool. The invitation is open.
Light it up.
Invitation for you to join. Okay, so this is a WNBA commissioner talking about the record-breaking season.
Let's go to that question, which raises some sensitivities of rivalries between players. In the case of Angel Reese, who's just had to shut it down because of a wrist injury, Caitlin Clark, who's continuing to play. Rivalry that goes back to their college days, presumably, where I guess some trash talking entered in. But now it seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that, try and tamp it down, or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things about the other?
Well, the one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like, the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979, when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So the social media is different today than it was in 1979 when it didn't exist. But, you know, I always tell the players, you know, I was told a long time ago, if someone's typing something in and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. So it's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago, because they see the benefit of having women and diverse women representing their brand.
I agree. Rivalries are good. Manning and Brady, the prime one among them.
You guys hope to win the debate.
So here's the thing. So after that aired, and there's more to it. You can go listen to the full kind of point. I just want to. This is what Context sent us. So this is what the WNBA sent out. So they realized that she really missed the mark there, and they said a statement from the WNBA PA executive director. Here is the answer that commissioners should have provided to the very clear question regarding racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by the players. There's absolutely no place in sport or in life for vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. This is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action, and frankly, should have been addressed long ago. As director of the WNBPA, now in my 9th season, I can say that with wholeheartedly welcome the rising interest in the WNBA over the past few years, particularly the surge in fandom sparked by this electrifying rookie class led by Angel and Caitlin. To the loyal fans who have been with the W for decades, thank you for your unwavering support. You know the history, the game, and the players. You know us best. And to our new fans, welcome. Your energy and passion are recognized and appreciated. Together with all our fans, we will continue to grow a sustainable and thriving future in the WNBA.
Tone, if I'm not mistaken, in the 27 years that the WNBA has been a league, how much money have they made?
Zero, actually negative, but zero.
You mean like in like no money? Like we have not turned a profit?
Like they've never turned a profit in their 20
opened up the doors.
Years.
We have not turned a profit. Is that what you're telling me?
Never.
So
Never.
if we rewind the clock back to 1979, 1980, when Bird and Magic showed up, can you tell everybody, Tone, like when the NBA Finals was on?
It was on tape delay because MASH was pulling in bigger numbers.
Yeah, MASH was pulling in bigger numbers. They were telling people.
Great show, by the way. Great show.
MASH was an awesome show. This politically correct answer is exactly that. Politically correct and bullshit.
Oh,
let me tell you why it's bullshit.
That's weird.
The reason why it's bullshit is because I'm watching Kirk Rambis get clotheslined by Kevin McHale. Now all of a sudden, the finals are on live TV. Everything is on live TV. Business is better. This is a business. Boston is one of the most racist cities in America. What do you think Magic had to listen to when he went to Boston? What do you think Jabbar had to listen to when he went to Boston? What do you think James Worthy had to listen to when he went to Boston? What we're trying to do is we're trying to grow our business here. That's what we're trying to do. And unfortunately, this kind of stuff comes with it. Now, sure, we live in a different time where there's more people who have more opinions and they're able to get those opinions out. But you know what else they have? They got more eyes on the TV. And that's what you guys want. The idea that, this isn't going to be tolerated. Yes, it is, because all publicity is good publicity. If we want people to see us, especially a rivalry like this, even though it's not a rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they aren't even a rivalry amongst themselves. No, they're not. But this is great for the game because now you have more people watching. When I turn on the Indiana Fever and I see Caitlin Clark, I realize that they got another girl on their team named Kelsey Mitchell. She's a baller. Mm-hmm. How am I gonna find out about her if I don't watch Caitlin Clark? I turn on the Chicago Sky, and I find out that they got a chick on their team named Cardosa, the big girl. She's a baller. I'm not going to find out about that unless Angel Reese is on the crew. I don't know that. when I watch the Indiana Fever, when they play against New York, when they play against Vegas, when they play against Minneapolis, when they play against Minnesota, I find out about these other women because it's more eyes on TV, and I get to see these other people. Tone, the way you found out about Byron Scott was because the Lakers was on and you watched Magic. That's how you found out about James Worthy. You're like, wait a minute. Even though you saw James Worthy in college, but the fact that
Worthy's different. But yeah, some of the other guys, yes.
But you're like, wait a minute. Who's this two guard that the Lakers got? Byron Scott. He's awesome. The reason why I found out about Danny Ainge, even though I saw him once or twice in college, now I know who he is because I'm watching more Celtics games. The reason why you know who Scottie Pippen is and how awesome he is because Jordan was there. And now you see, who is this small forward that the Bulls have? That's more eyes. Sure, this thing might be negative to you, but this is great for business. And the reason why it's great for business is because it creates more eyes. More eyes means more television. More television means more revenue. More television means more sponsors. More sponsors means more revenue. This is great for business. Get out of your feelings with this nonsense about we won't stand for this misogyny stuff. Man, Magic had to listen to you know what from you know who in Boston. Jordan, all of these guys had to listen to all kinds of nonsense, but it was great for business because now we're on live television. Not only are we on live television, people are seeing more of us now. So this is great for business. I'm not trying to hear that what should have been said. No, she was right. This is great for business.
With success and popularity comes hate. And when you and I first started talking about sports on TikTok, no one gave a damn, no one commented. And now, 70,000, what do you got, like 800,000 people following you? Guess what comes out more? You guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, so I knew what I was talking about 4 years ago or 3 years ago when I started because no one said I didn't know anything. But now all of a sudden I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about? No. So now, should she have addressed it a little bit to say, well, while we don't condone racism and misogyny, et cetera, the publicity that we're getting and the interest in that game, with that comes, some of this unfortunate stuff. However, the game now is more popular. Here's why. And then she can go into her business. Like the fact that the WNBA felt they needed to come out and say that she should have addressed this and only this just shows a little bit. I have to agree with you a little bit about the sensitivity of the world that we live in. But let me give you some numbers because I like my numbers. It's not going to be money for once. Chicago, average attendance last year, 7,200 people. This year, it's up to 8,800. Extra 1,600 fans. Not bad. Thank you, Angel Reese.
Better than last year.
The New York Liberty last year, 7,700 per game, 12,484 this year.
I think that's close to what Brooklyn was doing in terms of their attendance.
When anyone tells me it's not Caitlin Clark, by the way, the Indiana Fever average attendance last year, take a guess.
I'll say 5,000, Tone.
4,066.
Mm-hmm.
This year,
what are they doing now? I'll say 10,000.
16,976.
They selling out. They selling out the arena every night.
Don't tell me these people aren't good for business. These girls are
the arena every night. Right. Fantastic.
Great for business. And so, you have to, some people say it's you're exploiting them. No, that's your product. Your product is the players, right? Yeah. The NBA figured it out late with when they got Magic and Bird, because if they did it right, they would have started with Wilt in the 60s, right? And again, I'm not going to go down this path long, but quickly, if they were smart, right, they were taking games and going to other cities, right? That's why the 100-point game, I use in air quotes, the 100-point game was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, because they said, hey, we're going to go out to these other rural cities and promote the game. But they went out there with no radio broadcast, no video broadcast, no reporters, no photographers. Well, that's dumb. That's not how you grow the game. Nah. They didn't like, this guy was averaging 50 points a game. Like, you should have been everywhere.
Why isn't he on TV more?
Why is he averaging 50 a game? Because he's eating these McDonald's burgers. I'm loving it. Right? Like they missed a huge opportunity. The 70s with Kareem, Dr. J. Dr. J, man, you let him get drafted by who? Do you remember who drafted Dr. J in the NBA?
Squires.
Milwaukee. No. Milwaukee.
Oh, I thought you meant in the ABA. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the ABA was the Squires, yes. But like, dude, no, come here. Here's a bag. I'm gonna make Dr. Right. Then they figure it out. They're like, oh, Magic and Bird. Oh, they played in the national title game. Oh, okay. Let's make this a thing.
Let's put these dudes on TV more.
Yeah, let's make this a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are at that point, and they can't get out of their own way. They can, like the fact. I'm gonna go back to the Olympics. The fact that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark both weren't on the Olympic team was dumb.
That was dumb.
You think they would have lost if they dropped Brittany Griner and Deanna Taurasi and put in Angel Reese and Caitlin? You think they would have lost?
They still would have won it.
Of course, they still would have won it. But you know how many more people would have watched?
Yes, way more.
Like you're stepping over dollars to pick up dimes, and that's stupid business. So the fact that what she said is getting met with this immediate, oh, but you didn't give everybody a hug, it drives me insane. Like, it is a business. They're here to make money. Yes. Can you be conscious about it? Sure. It's a business. They're there to make money. That's the product. You push the product.
Which
you don't tell our girls suck. No, you say, hey, take a free sample of this so I can get you hooked. That's how you make a business.
Mm-hmm. And to compound your point, Tone, when you talk about people watching, for those of you guys that don't know, the Fever played the Chicago Sky last week. Their game on NBA TV, it was the biggest watch game of all games. It had more eyes on it than any team in the NBA last year that played on NBA TV.
In the NBA?
Any of them. In the league, in the NBA, they had more eyes on it than any team. That includes, Tone, the playoffs, Game 5 of the Milwaukee Bucks. It drew more eyes on NBA TV than any game that was on NBA TV last year, including Game 5 of the Bucks, Indiana. Including that game.
You know what I find interesting too? It's kind of that's only because Caitlin Clark is this or she's that.
So
okay. So you're telling me that the WNBA that's been losing money since their inception now has a player that 60% of your country can relate to, and now they're buying tickets and merchandise, and now they're all going to get paid. That's a bad thing. How?
That's not. That is not a bad. In fact, it's a great thing. What do we need to do to put more eyes on her? Tell us what we need to do. When we sit in a room with the suits, what do we need to do to put more eyes on her? What do we need to do to keep the camera on the Bayou Barbie, on the Bayou Barbie up in Chicago? Because these women are clearly great for business.
And let me just say, not just those two. Like, you use them to open the door, and then you introduce people to say the girl's name, because I can never say her name. Arike
Awumalan. Oh my God,
I can't say it.
Agumba Wale. I'm sorry, Tom.
You introduce them to her. You let them learn about Sabrina Ionescu. Asia Wilson might be so good that when we look back at the WNBA in 10 years, we're going to say, oh, everybody who played in her era sucked because she was so good, right? Like, but let's introduce her, because for whatever reason, doesn't matter. The reason doesn't matter, guys. Just, I'm sorry, it doesn't. She isn't as popular as she should be for how great she is. Cool. Let's use these two rookies that are bringing in the eyeballs. Let's use them to open up. And because once you start seeing now these other players, you're going to be like, oh, damn. Vegas, not just Asia Wilson. Vegas, that's a bomb squad.
That's how we find
out
who these
bomb
women
squad.
are. That's
right?
it, Tom.
So that's how you introduce it. Like, you use in the 90s, you used Michael Jordan to open the door so people would be like, oh, who's this Dominique? Who's this Patrick Ewing? Who's this Charles Barkley? Because there were casual fans that didn't know who they were, and it was like, oh, damn. Right? That's what you used Magic and Bird, and then Magic and Bird, you're like, hold on, they're not winning every year. Dr. J, he's old and he's playing like that. Moses Malone, what? Who's that? Like, it's not just, yeah, it's just like, hold on, here's all these other great players that you're missing out on. And that's marketing 101. So let's stay on that kind of thread for a second. Have you seen the Tyreek Hill stuff?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
It's just another example of just perpetuating the cycle. Your job as a police officer, and I said this to Ox earlier today, more police officers are killed in traffic stops than anything else. That includes violent crimes, that includes arrests for felons. Traffic stops are the most dangerous. So with that being said, your job, my job as a police officer, is not to escalate a situation. My job is to de-escalate a situation. I don't want this to go anywhere than where it already is. You don't want trouble. You want this thing wrapped up quickly. I want to wrap this up quickly. I don't need this to be anything more than what it is, which is a routine traffic stop. If he broke the law, let's get to the bottom of it. You heard what he said. Give him his ticket. Let him be on his way. We don't have to make this into a pissing contest where I'm a bigger deal than you. Get out of the car. No, we don't.
That's actually exactly what I said. I said it was a dick measuring contest, and that's why it escalated.
We don't have to do that. That is not necessary. And because that's when bad things, because that's what you saw, Tone, that's when bad things happen. This is something. Now, I understand that.
Can I play devil's advocate for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
I'll play devil's advocate for a second. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible the officer did not know that he was a NFL player, celebrity, et cetera, et cetera? All he knows is there was, a black man in what was he driving? A Lamborghini, a Ferrari, whatever the hell he was driving. And when he took his license and registration and started to head back to his car, after catching him going 100 miles per hour with no seatbelt on, so he definitely earned his ticket.
Sure.
Which is why, by the way, I say pro athletes should just have a driver take them to games and stuff. But anyways, that's a different conversation for a different time. So now as he's walking away, he sees a rich black man who is now rolling up his heavily tinted window, in his mind, knowing that traffic stops are the #1 killer of cops.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what he's doing behind that tinted glass. And so that's why our rule is you roll down the window and you leave it rolled down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a safety precaution. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate for everyone's tuning in late and be like, whatever you're going to say about me. Is it possible? He said, hey, window down, keep your window down.
Mm-hmm.
Because should he keep his window down, as he was instructed to do,
mm-hmm.
because let's be clear, he didn't just get pulled over because he did nothing wrong. He was doing 100 miles an hour with no seatbelt. So two bad things that he shouldn't be doing. I'll keep your window. He takes his license and registration. He gets him the ticket. He gives him his ticket. Have a nice day, sir. Goodbye.
Yep.
Now, did he overreact to the window being rolled up? Some would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Others might say, if you're the Miami Police Department, well, no, tinted window rolled up. Not 9 times out of 10. In the instances where a cop has been shot, it has been the rolled up tinted window, and when the window comes down, there's a gun there.
Right.
And we teach them to do this.
Yep.
So is that enough to escalate the situation where it did? In my opinion, no.
Mm-hmm.
But is that a case of Tyreek Hill acting like a celebrity
mm-hmm.
and saying, well, I don't have to follow the rules, because the fact that he was doing 100 miles an hour already tells me the fact that, well, he was going to work in the wrong state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You might be cheetah on the field. You can't be cheetah on the highway.
So if you want to rewind really quick,
I would say this. Let me backpedal.
Yep.
Like, you'll hear stories about, oh, this guy was on his motorcycle and he was doing 200 miles an hour and he slammed into a pole and he's dead and everybody's crying, and I'm like, well, sad that he's dead, but like, you're doing 200 miles an hour and you crash into it. Like, what'd you expect?
Yeah, sure.
What'd you expect?
Absolutely.
So you're doing 100 miles an hour, double the speed limit,
right,
and you got pulled over and you got treated like someone who did something wrong. Well, what'd you expect?
Right. I won't argue that. But with that being said, all traffic stops are not the same.
100%.
No, all traffic stops are not the same. It's the middle of it's in the middle. It's in the morning. We're at a busy intersection. You got the driver's license. You know exactly where you are, and don't tell me that you're not familiar with the Miami Dolphins as a state trooper.
But I don't know. Like that's the part that I struggle with, because it's a sport where they wear their helmets.
Sure.
And we just assume that everybody's a football fan.
No.
If you saw, the car that stopped afterwards, I think it was Juno Smith. If you saw Juno Smith walking down the street, would you immediately know it was Juno Smith?
I don't, but I tell you what, I'm familiar with football, and if I took Juno Smith's ID and I went back and ran his and I ran it, Juno Smith, why does that name sound familiar? Wait a minute, I think that's the dude that played.
No, but if you didn't know football,
I did. But even if I didn't know football, I'm familiar. I might not know the game, but I know where I'm working, and that state trooper, he's not completely oblivious. Not only that, Tone, I took this guy's driver's license. Took it back.
No, he didn't get back. Remember, he only took a couple steps, saw the window come up, and then turned.
Right, he did.
So he may not have even looked at it at that point.
The reason why Tyreek Hill said he had his window rolled up, which I totally understand.
Okay, that I don't. This part is new information to me. So go ahead.
He said the reason why he had his window rolled up because he didn't want to draw attention to himself. He didn't want when people driving by to see what was going on and make this thing a bigger deal than what it is. This could have been something that could have been wrapped up.
That worked out.
It didn't. In fact, it actually made it worse, right? It actually made it worse.
Yeah.
So this is something that, and again, I don't know who Tyreek Hill is. I'm a state trooper. I don't know who Tyreek Hill is. I'm working a football game. I'm monitoring traffic. You give me your driver's license. He obviously broke the law. Give me your driver's license. Take it back to the. And by the way, there were other police officers there too, so it wasn't.
This is why I couldn't be a cop, because I would have walked up to the window and been like, "Oh shit, Tyreek Hill, yo, dude, slow down, bro. Good luck in the game." You're on my fantasy.
There's other cops. There's other cops who've done that. Not only are there other cops who've done that, Tone. I've actually heard situations. Roger Clemens is a prime example. Roger Clemens, the night that he threw for the afternoon, he threw 20 strikeouts. He's in traffic, Tone, for 45 minutes. He's on his way to the game. Traffic is backed up. A cop recognizes him, and he goes, "Yo, you on the mound today?" He says, "You're on the mound today." And and Roger Clemens says to him, "Yeah, and I'm gonna be late." He says, "No, you're not. Follow me." "No, you are not."
See,
that's no, you're not.
That is supposed to be one of the perks of being a celebrity,
right.
But
no, you're not. You follow me. You are not going to be late. So with that being said, this is something, like I said, all traffic stops aren't the same. This isn't the middle of the night. This isn't 11:30 at night, and we're in a different area, and it's dark, and we got some guy in a fast car, and we don't know. Yeah. This is the middle of the morning. It's broad daylight outside. There's plenty of traffic out here. I got other cops here that are also watching this whole situation, seeing what's going on. So I did that. That's something that did not have to get escalated, which this police officer did escalate it and turn it into something else. And all he did was perpetuate the cycle of how black people feel about police officers. And he definitely needs to be disciplined. And if he got fired, he
won't get fired.
Yeah, but if he did get fired, that wouldn't bother me at all. Because what I'm worried about is whom else has he done this to? Whom else? Because this isn't his first situation.
Yeah, I'll give both sides. Like I said, I think he went way overboard, power tripping. And as someone who has been in handcuffs for 11 hours because someone wanted to prove that I was an illegal Mexican trying to come into the U.S. Illegally through Tijuana. I'll tell you that story one day. I understand guys taking their authority too far. On the other hand, you're going to get half of the people who say, the cop told you to keep the window down, shut up and keep the window down, and you would have been out of there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, does it make it okay that I poked the bear and then the bear attacked me? No. But it was like you made a mountain out of a molehill, right?
That on both sides, Tone. I won't argue that.
Yeah, he on both sides here. Sure. He was wrong, but then the cop was more wrong. If that makes like way more,
he made it worse.
Like way more wrong. Mm-hmm. Now the other part is, though, I will say this: the Juno Smith part, where he pulls in front of him, parks on a diagonal, gets out of his car, like all that stuff. He's very lucky. He didn't get in a lot more trouble.
That was Kalalis. Kalalis was there too. He ended up.
He was
end up put in handcuffs.
Oh, was he? See, I've only seen two. I saw the body cam, and then the one angle where the guy's, I think, driving by. I didn't see what happens after that. That's the other part that, again, I'm trying to see both sides. I'm trying, because like I said, if it was me, I'm giving him a high five and telling him he's on my fantasy team, go to work. That's just me.
Which that's happened before, I'm sure.
Yeah, they would love me. I'm
sure that's happened before.
But from the other perspective is, well, hold on, I've got this guy, and now another car pulls up and a bunch of other people pull out of the car.
It looks dangerous. Yeah, it looks dangerous. Yes,
it's safe. Like, I'm sorry,
yes,
like
it looks dangerous. 100%. It does.
Sadly, in this world, your first instinct isn't, oh, I'm safe. It's not anymore. It's not. Like, a bunch of people pull out,
especially if you're the cops.
You immediate, or no, even if you're a regular person. Like, just think, if you're going down the street and 10 cops surround you, are you immediately thinking, oh, they're here to keep me safe?
No. Something's going on.
It doesn't matter who it is, right? If you're alone, that's all I'm saying is, it's, you see, when a crowd comes to you, your immediate reaction. Muhammad Ali said it actually amazing. He said, if there's a mob, he's talking about race, of course. He said, but if there's a mob of white people running at me, he's like, I'm not going to stop and ask which ones are the friendly one and which ones are the nice ones. I'm just going to assume that they're after to hurt me, and I'm going to protect myself. And he goes, whether that's right or wrong, it's reality. And I sat there going, can't really argue with that. Like, if I'm standing there and 10 people rush me, I'm thinking they ain't coming to give me a hug.
Right.
Unless
I just feel like the cycle just is perpetuated when I see stuff like
there's a problem. There is a problem that needs to be addressed, but it's I wish I knew the answer.
It looks bad because
it does. It looks bad.
It looks bad off the strength that, again, it's another black man who, sure, he could have handled the situation a little bit better.
Sure.
But with that being said, you as the professional, you as the police officer, you as the state trooper, I'm trained in this situation. There was no need for me to snatch him out of the car. There was no need for that. That wasn't necessary.
I think look, now the whole stop banging on my glass, like okay, enough. Like, stop now. Could window down. I'm going to need you to keep your window down. Here's why. Right, as a trained professional, your crisis aversion, your job is to deflate the situation, and I feel like too many are pumping it up and making it crazy because
it made it worse than what it is.
It made it worse than it was. Yeah, 100%. All right, let's talk some hoops.
Let's do that.
So 4 big moves that I want to talk about. 4 big moves I want to talk about. I've already told you, Paul George to the Sixers, hot garbage.
Tom, you think this thing is going to be a disaster? Like, when I say a disaster, I mean like what happened in Brooklyn with Kyrie, James Harden, and
I mean like this is a 500 team. It's a 500 team.
They're going to be garbage.
Garbage.
That's garbage. If they're 500, that means they barely make the playoffs.
Yep, 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear Embiid asking to be traded by the trade deadline. Wow. Like out in public, I want to move.
This is what I'm thinking with this when it comes to this crew, Tone. I'm thinking that just very much like what Paul George left in Los Angeles, he's basically going right back to that situation. And the post that was holding up the tent in Los Angeles was Leonard. The post that's holding up the tent in Philadelphia is another guy that's made of glass. So
he's not as bad as Kawhi.
That guy breaks down. He is not. No, he is not as bad as Kawhi. But if he breaks down or he gets hurt on some level, we're in the same situation because you're going to get beat up too. Because you're a little longer than 2. He'll be 35 next year, Tone. By the time the playoff, in the middle of the playoffs, Paul George turns 35. So with that being said, you have other guys on the unit with him. Let's see whom else. With I'm thinking about the kid from that came from Phoenix, the shooter Eric Gordon. I'm thinking about
when has Eric Gordon and Paul George been the answer to anything?
Never. They've never been the answer to anything. But I do think that these guys help. The difference with the Sixers, bagging Paul George, you do upgrade at that spot that you had Tobias Harris. You are better there. So now I get a better one-on-one player. I get a better defender. Even though Paul George, at this stage of his career, I feel a lot of his defense is reputation-based. I don't think he's the all-league defender that he was in 2019. I don't think he was the elite defender that he was in 2020. I think a lot of that is reputation based, but I think he is better than Tobias Harris. Is he a better fit?
That's what I was gonna say. Is he a better player than Tobias Harris? Of course, he's a better player than Tobias Harris. Is he a better fit for this team? That's where I have a question mark. That's where I have a question mark because I don't know.
Now the question that needs to be answered is with him, what kind of role are they going to use him in? Because Paul George already told us last year he's not a number one on a championship team, which means that the post that's holding up this tent is Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid has shown me over the last 4 years he is not stable. He is going to break down, which means that now when he does break down, Tyrese Maxey is not the guy they're going to be looking at. It's going to be you. You, Paul George, are going to be the guy that they're going to say, yo, we need you to get busier than what you already have, right? That means Tyrese Maxey is going to have to step up his game. You saw what happened to them last year when Joel Embiid went out of the lineup. They were teetering as a playing team. I actually didn't think that they make the playoffs. That's how bad I thought they were. But now you add a guy like Eric Gordon, who's a knockdown shooter, because I thought that they were going to lose Buddy Hield. Okay, so you add Eric Gordon. I get with that. Tone, I don't think they're going to be as bad as you think they're going to be, but I don't think that they're going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be neither. I think that they're going to. I think they're a top 5 seed.
Five hundo. Who? Okay, the next one. It's no particular order, by the way. The next one is my guy, DeMar DeRozan.
I think he helps them. I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't. I think this is I do think that he gives them another wing scorer, a better mid-range player. He can play in transition as fast as they play. I do think that he helps them. I don't think he's the difference in them winning the NBA championship. No, I'm not going to go that far. But I do think that he helps them from a scoring standpoint. He doesn't defend, and he's long in the tooth. I think he's going to be 35 next season. He is long in the tooth, so that's going to be a problem. I don't think this is as bad as – I think they're a bona fide playoff team, barring injury, though. I do think that.
You can't handle the truth.
Hot garbage. Sacramento. Sacramento. Did Sacramento make the playoffs last year?
They did lose Herder. No, they didn't. To answer your question.
No, and who did they lose?
They lost Herder. They lost Monk.
And weren't those two their best shooters?
Yes, but they lost De'Aaron Fox earlier in the season. So I mean that kind of ties into it.
So you're bringing in 100-year-old midi range DeMar DeRozan. This isn't 2009 DeMar DeRozan. This is 2024 or 2019, 2017, 2015. I don't pick the year. This ain't that year. DeMar DeRozan. I love DeMar DeRozan. He ain't helping this team. Is he
not helping them get to the championship, Tone, or is he not helping this team? Period.
He's not helping them do nothing but lose more games than last year. How the hell are you going to have DeMar DeRozan and Sabonis on the court together?
Tone, this was a team that was they were teetered.
How are you going to have Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan on the court together?
Well, they're going to be spread out more, and DeMar DeRozan playing in the mid range. And not only DeMar DeRozan playing in the mid range and playing off the ball, which is when he was at his best, playing the 2-guard spot. Sabonis being the distributor that he is, the passer that he is, getting DeMar, making plays for guys like DeMar DeRozan and getting him more involved in the offense. I think that that's going to work. Now, he might not stretch the defense, but I think they play faster with those two guys on the floor because Sabonis can rebound and De'Aaron Fox pushes the pace. So I think that I from that aspect, I do think it's going to work. From a defensive aspect, it might get a little tricky.
So what happens? What have you seen? What have you seen in the NBA when we've put offensive guys together? Because we'll call Fox, Sabonis, DeMar, etc. offensive guys. Monk. Oh no, Monk's still on the team, is he not? Monk's still on the team.
Yeah, in fact, he just resigned.
Yeah. What have we seen? We put those when we've put a bunch of offensive guys together with limited to no defense. What happens?
See, we see a lot of points. I can tell you that.
And what happens to their record? What happens to them in the playoffs?
Does it fade? I'm not sure if it. Yeah, that's where it gets tricky.
What happened in Phoenix? What happened? It doesn't work, guys. It does not work. Where's DeMar going to play? He can't play shooting guard anymore. He play small forward. He's a big power forward.
Why can't he play the 2? What's the problem with him playing the 2, Tom?
2?
Why can't he play the 2?
You put him at the 2.
Why can't he play the two? I mean, if
Can't
don't get me
play the
wrong,
two.
he's a lot older than guys like Devin Booker, and
He's 47 years old.
he's a lot older than guys like Devin Booker, and Anthony Edwards is probably looking at him like he's lunch. I ain't gonna argue that, but he can still score with the best of them. I think he averaged 23 a game last year. So as fast as that Sacramento team plays.
This team's going to be a story. Listen, Ox, I was going to tell you before, if I didn't, like, plug your ears, bro. Like, you're not going to like this. Sacramento, hot garbage. Next up, Clay, 3 and D with no more threes and no more D. What is he bringing to Dallas exactly?
Oh man, I'm not a huge
His
fan
boat?
of this
Because I know he's having a lot of fun dancing on his boat.
Mm-hmm.
What's he bringing to Dallas?
There's some lakes in Dallas. There's some lakes.
He's a catch and shoot 3-point shooter who defends, who can't do either one of those things anymore.
Not at the level that they need him to do in order to win it. Now, again, to his credit, Tone, same thing with Paul George in Philadelphia. They did the same thing in Dallas with Clay, and they replaced Tim Hardaway Jr. with Klay Thompson. And I think that's an upgrade.
That's a downgrade.
Now, I think that's
a downgrade.
He's definitely a better long ball shooter than Tim Hardaway. The problem is
more.
Here's the problem, Tone. The problem is that Clay, he's used to playing in a free flowing offense, a lot of action, a lot of ball movement. That's not going on in Dallas.
That is not Dallas.
No, that's not going on in Dallas. So there's going to be a lot of standing around waiting for the ball to come to you, as opposed to more free flow and more movement. That's going to be a lot different now.
There's going to be a lot of soul singing and flower bringing when he sees how stagnant that offense is, because it's dead. Biggie. Listen, so Clay, so that's my thing with Clay. I think Clay, this isn't Clay. Like, they bring these guys in and they think it's Indiana Paul George. They think it's Raptor DeMar DeRozan. They think it's prime 2016 Clay Thompson. It's not. It's not. These three will combine to disappoint you all. These three, not one will make an all-star, forget all-NBA team. Not one of them is making the all-star game. Not one of them is doing anything impactful other than, if you call impact, making a team win less games than they did the year before. All three of these have made the team worse. And the fourth one might be the biggest flop of them all. Bridges to the Knicks.
You're wrong about that one, Tone. Hell yes, you're wrong about that one. No, I actually love Bridges to the Knicks because he gives them another defender and another scorer on the wing that they didn't have. He's more durable.
When he becomes a scorer, what does Jalen Brunson become?
A distributor, just like Julius Randle becomes more of a distributor. And I don't know if you noticed, Tone, and this is a very interesting stat that I found out. Julius Randle led the league in 2022. He led the league in kickouts in the paint. Not only did he lead the league in kickouts in the paint, the Knicks were, I think, 5th in the league in threes made from kickouts from Julius Randle. Or I think they were at the top of the league.
So when Julius Randle kicks out for a three?
Yes, and a guy like Julius Randle who attracts that much attention, right? A guy like Julius Randle who attracts that much attention, when he attracts that much attention, that actually enhances guys like Bridges' game. That enhances OG Anunoby's game. That enhances Jalen Brunson's game. Because if I remember correctly, last season, Julius Randle led them in assists early on in the season. And Jalen Brunson wasn't exactly getting off the peel. Now you add another defender to speed the game up. That's why I wasn't that big a fan of re-signing OG Anunoby, because I felt like you already have that in Mikal Bridges. I think he's better, to be honest with you. And I got a lot of heat for that, but I think he does the same thing that OG Anunoby does, except I'm cheaper. You got him on the cheap, and I think he's a better scorer.
So give me who's the starting five in New York?
Brunson at the 1,
Too little.
Bridges at the 2,
I like
OG Anunoby at the 3, Randle at the 4, Robinson at the 5. That's your 5, man. That's your 5 starters.
So you got 4 guys that want to shoot.
Well, that's the way.
There's one basketball,
right?
And I guarantee you, OG being re-signed, who left Toronto, left Toronto. The reason he was traded was because he said, I want a bigger role in the offense. Didn't go to New York and re-sign with them saying, you're going to have a smaller role because we're bringing in another guy to take away shots. So you're going to have 4 guys, 1 basketball. That math ain't mathin'.
Here's the difference, though, Tony.
And now, Tibbs is still the coach, right?
He is.
Talk to me about his free-flowing, open offensive style.
But it's more of a read and react offense, even though they do get the ball to Jalen Brunson, and they'll run some pick and pop with him and Julius Randle. They'll run some curl action, but it's not a lot of stuff. This Knicks team is going to be predicated on what they were last year. It's going to be a lot of grit, a lot of grind, a lot of defense, a lot of rebounding, playing fast. A lot of the stuff that they're going to get, you're going to see it in transition. Because that's going to speed them up. It's not going to be a lot of half-court offense. It's going to be them playing faster. You got the wing defenders in Bridges. You got the wing defender in OG Anunoby, right? You got the glass cleaner in Julius Randle. It's a double-double guy. And you got another glass cleaner in Mitchell Robinson. I'm not sure whether or not he's going to hold up, but you got another glass cleaner in him. So they're going to have to play faster. The difference with them is when you get them in a half-court, their primary playmaker is going to either be Julius Randle or Brunson, because none of those other guys play make like Julius Randle or Brunson. So that's where that's where the divide is going to be. So they're going to have to be able to shoot the basketball when the offense opens up. I think that's where the difference is going to be.
But I think Brunson's strength is his ability to create shots and score. Like, I think that's what makes him special more than his playmaking. And when you force someone out of what I think is their strength, that's when it starts to deteriorate all their play, everything. So you've got a bunch of, like I said, you're going to be in a situation where by November 15th, when Mitchell Robinson gets hurt, Julius Randle's going to be starting at center? Like these guys in the chat.
They're going to play lineups like that where Julius Randle plays the 5. That's going to happen, Tone. And I don't think that's ridiculous to have Julius Randle at the 5 when you go small. I don't think that's ridiculous at all. Nope.
I'm much more confident in the other 3 being flops. But this one has a cautionary tale behind it. Mr. Brown, no, I don't bet. But if you'd like to make a gentleman's wager, I don't bet money. I'm not a gambler in that sense, but hold me accountable. I love coming on and telling everybody when I'm right, because it's way more often than when I'm wrong. The next thing on the agenda is these 4 players.
I don't know if we got to.
We do have a super chat. You're absolutely right. That's the next thing on the agenda. Lee Mack. There's not enough crisis training for police in the USA. In Canada, we do it every year. In the States, I believe only 1 day in general.
Well, there's a lot of situations where police are called to situations where police aren't necessary. Like if we have a mental health crisis, we don't need the cops for that. No, we don't. We need a mental health professional for that. We don't need the cops. Usually when we have a mental health crisis, the cops show up, they escalate the situation. They're not needed. Now, if you want to bring the cops as support, maybe for them to be outside and a mental health specialist comes in and handles the situation, that's something different. But I can't call the cops over here I can't call the cops to deal with a mental health situation. I think that even though cops are trained in mental health situations, when people see the cops, they don't think mental health. They don't think that I'm getting help from mental health. No, they think the cops are here to take me away. That's not what I don't think that's conducive for the situation. No, I don't.
Yeah, there's that's a tough one because it's the mental health piece, like you said. They're not trained to deal with it. You don't have mental health people on call. You can't call 912 and get mental health. Like it's unless that they create. I don't know how they fix that, but maybe that's the thing, right? They need to create something where that can be identified quickly and they send over the right people. So I did not know that there's kind of 1 day and 1 year. And I'll tell you this, once a year isn't enough. So even if Canada's doing once a year, I didn't know that. Once a year isn't enough. Sports PSP, our guy, is Deshaun Watson done? Yep.
It's looking tricky, Tone. I was wrong about him. I thought he was going to reintroduce us to him. I did. I thought he was going to reintroduce us to him. That Cleveland team, you know, their edges, their wide outs, they got a good team, man. And this whole fiasco with him, it's kind of derailed him.
You know, for me, he just kind of looked like stressed, like maybe he just needs a massage.
Shut your damn mouth.
Of course, Tone was going to go there. I don't know why I'm surprised. I knew he was going to do that.
Again, let's be very clear. Clay not an upgrade of Hardaway Jr. Hey, Fluent, ever watched Hardaway Jr. play? Is he mistaking him for senior? No. Let's be very clear. Like I said about Paul George, like I said about Paul, at this point, I think senior would be better right now today. Paul, like I said about Paul George is a better player than Tobias Harris, but within the framework of that team, I don't think it helps. Like, this is not Klay Thompson. Like you're saying, have I watched Hardaway Jr. play? Have you watched Klay play recently? That ain't Klay. That ain't Klay. You're remembering Klay, right? When I told you, you know, the only reason you don't realize LeBron is the best player in basketball today is because you're comparing him to LeBron 10 years ago. No, you got to compare. Look at Klay today, not yesterday. Okay, he's dancing with his hat on a boat. He ain't shooting threes. So I'm not confusing him for anybody. That being said, this should be a really easy question. Who had the greatest prime? Is that the question you actually want us to discuss?
Yes, Tone, because I think there's a difference between peak and prime. And
there is a difference between peak and prime. I agree.
I think that there's a difference between peak and prime. And what would you rather? Would you rather have a guy 3-4 years and he was awesome, or have a guy sustain for 11 years? Because winning championships, you and I have had this conversation more than once, more than twice, Tone. Winning NBA championships, that stuff matters in terms of winning and in terms of getting lucky. That stuff matters. You can't just be good. Good isn't good enough. You need some stuff to go your way. Number 3 for the Miami Heat, how long was his prime? His prime was the shortest of all of these guys. Wade gave me 9 years. In the 9 years that Wade gave me, he gave me about 26, 27 a game in 4 years. How about Allen Iverson? Allen Iverson at his peak. Allen Iverson gave me 4 years at his peak, Tone, at 30 and 2 steals. Russell Westbrook gave me 28, 8, and 7 for 11 years. For 11 years, I got that out of him. And I had some misfortune because KD left him. That's the downside. James Harden gave me 28 and 8. James Harden gave me almost 28 and 8 for 11 years. And I had some misfortune. He got to the conference finals twice. I wasn't able, and he has faltered in the playoffs a couple times. But would I rather Dwayne Wade's 3 or 4 years where I got that NBA championship, or would I rather James Harden and get 11 years and maybe be more fortunate? I guess the question I'm asking you, Tone, is you want Bill Walton or you want Malone?
Well, he's super overrated, Bill Walton. So I definitely don't want Bill Walton. Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade had peak. I think Dwayne Wade at his peak was better than all 3 of them. And I think Dwayne Wade in his prime, and although it might have been a shorter prime, was better and achieved significantly more than all 3 of them. And the other reason I say that is we're talking James Harden as an offensive only player, and we fall in love with offense. And you talked about a system. He was in a system, right, for his prime where it was 7 seconds or less. And here, James Harden, you get to pick all the shots, all the layups, all the dunks, all the passes is in your hands. And that was great for statistics. It was not conducive to winning. So, and you know how I feel about Allen Iverson. I love Allen Iverson. However, His peak, we're talking prime. His prime, he still wasn't a great defender. Russell Westbrook, a statistic machine. And so I'm just going, when I look at the holistically of their primes, Dwayne Wade was every bit of the scorer that these guys were, not a shooter, but every bit of a scorer that these guys were, the superior defender by far. I said I'm not saying better. I'm saying as good.
Every bit the scorer that James Harden was. Do you remember James Harden, Tone, from
I
2019?
absolutely remember James. I absolutely remember James Harden. But I'm not gonna say that if Dwayne Wade wasn't in D'Antoni's system, he wouldn't have scored 35 points a game as well.
But he wasn't though, Tone. That's the difference. And I can say the same thing about James Harden. What if James Harden played for the?
But I can watch basketball and know that I'm not just going to give credit to Harden and say, okay, he's a significantly better shooter than Dwayne Wade is. They score in different ways, but can I not get 30, 35 from both a night?
You can get that.
Every bit of the score, I can get that. Can I get anywhere near Wade's defense and shot blocking out of a shooting guard from James Harden? Can I get anywhere near that?
No, you probably can't, Tom. But there's something that you can get. Right, you can get some consistency on offense, right? You can get a better scorer. Why? You got guys to protect James Harden on the defensive end if he's playing in Miami, if he's playing those 4 years when he's playing with Shaquille O'Neal and he's playing with James Posey and he's playing with Gary Payton, right? You got guys to protect James Harden, as opposed to with Dwayne Wade playing in Mike D'Antoni's system with Trevor Ariza. He's not the distributor that James Harden is. He's not the playmaker that James Harden is at that time. And I think that Dwayne Wade is a damn good passer. I think Dwayne Wade is a damn good scorer. I think Dwayne Wade is a damn good finisher, and he's a better defender. I won't argue that part. But when I think about what James Harden in his prime, I'm talking
the playoffs 3 years, too, not just the regular season.
And that's where we have to get lucky. When I think about what James Harden did for those 11 years, am I taking that over what I got from Dwayne Wade for those 3 or 4 years? Am I taking that? Because you said that he accomplished more. I mean, all 3 of these guys got league MVPs. Dwayne Wade doesn't have that, but he does have a finals MVP, though. Okay, I'll give you that part, Tone. He does have a finals MVP.
And if his teammates showed up in 2011, he'd have 2.
If
his teammate showed up in 2011, he'd have 2.
Yeah, I think he would have won the finals MVP in 2011, too. I won't even argue that. No doubt. If James would have gave him
let
more.
Let me ask you this. You have a team, and you need to pick a guard. And what's your goal as a general manager owner to win a championship? Which one do you want on your team?
Wade has shown me.
Then there's your answer.
Wade has shown me, but he's also shown me that he won't get busy in the postseason either. Don't forget, Tone, when they won the NBA championship in 06, they got swept the next year by Chicago. Swept out the playoffs in the first round. Wade sucked in that series.
Sure.
He was garbage.
Everyone's had a bad series. Everyone's had a bad
garbage
series
in that series. So I mean, I can point to series where Wade wasn't good. In 2014, when they played in the playoffs, James did a lot of the heavy lifting in the playoffs that year. A lot of the heavy lifting, as opposed to Wade clearly showing he looked heavy, he looked slower.
But I think there was some injury issues, but also I think when you have a player of that magnitude come in, they learned in 2011 you can't make him a second fiddle. And so he did what the team needed to do to win. And I think the fact that we knock Wade, Bosch, Love, etc. on other teams too, but those are the most common ones that people pick up. We knock on them for their numbers going down when the reality is they went from the number 1 option to a number 3 option, and they did that so they could win. We should applaud that. And we don't.
That's sacrifice. I'm gonna argue that.
Yeah, we not.
Sure. That's
because guess what? If Bosch would have said, "No, I'm getting 15 shots a game in Toronto. I want 15 shots a game here."
I'm getting what they were doing. He could have.
It completely would have ruined what they were doing. That's why. Yeah. That's my worry about the Knicks. I'm worried that Brunson and Bridges and everybody just says, "I still want mine," and OG saying, "I want more." So all I'm saying is, if I have those 4 players. This isn't about who's the best player. It's not about who. I'm just saying their prime years. I'm offensively and defensively combined, regular season and playoffs. When I see what I got out of Iverson's the other one that I struggle with, but what I got out of Harden or didn't get out of Harden in the playoffs, what I got out of Iverson, what I got out of Westbrook, I'm if I get to pick who I am, I'm picking Wade. You paying LeBron, you playing LeBron, I'm paying Dwayne Wade. That's all I'm saying.
You just made the list.
That's all I got.
If Trae Young was 6'8",
oh boy,
would he be the greatest player in basketball history?
No, he wouldn't. Just like Gilbert Arenas, if he was 6'6", he wouldn't be the greatest player ever. You know what you would be if you were 6'6", Gil? You'd be more of a bucket getter. That's it. You wouldn't be a better distributor. You wouldn't be a better playmaker. You wouldn't be a better defender. You'd be more of a bucket getter, which is what you guys think that's all basketball is getting buckets. That's it.
It isn't?
No, it's not. It's way more than that. And the fact that Trae Young, okay, we're going to make you taller. That's going to make you a better defender. That's going to make you a better rebounder. That's going to make you a better scorer because you're going to do more because you're taller. Well, why do I have to assume that when I've seen small guys defend, when I've seen small guys rebound, when I've seen small guys play make? The fact that you're small, that shouldn't negate you. I mean, Isaiah Thomas was small. With Isaiah Thomas being small, he still did a lot of other stuff. You, on the other hand, you're telling us if I was 6'8", what's going to happen to you on the defensive side of the ball? Are you going to magically just turn into a defender? Are you going to magically compete on the defensive end? No, you're not. You're just going to be more of a bucket getter. I won't argue about you being a distributor. No, I won't argue that. I think you're one of the best distributors in the game. You'll be more of a bucket getter. More of that. But the other stuff.
You know what I noticed about short guys? They don't realize that, just becoming taller you can't just be tall and everything else stays the same.
It doesn't.
Everything else changes. Right? Everything else you do is going to change. You can't dribble the same. You can't shoot the same. You can't, your feet aren't the same, typically the same size. Your hands aren't it doesn't mean that he can't learn and adapt to be 6'8", but I don't know how 6'8" fixes the turnovers. I don't know how 6'10" would make Gilbert Arenas any smarter. He still goes into the locker room with a gun. Like it doesn't change. Chris Webber was 6'10". He's still calling timeouts when they don't have any. Like it doesn't change who you are. And so I think that might be that's just like the Napoleon complex. It's just like I'm a shorter guy in this league, and I need to. I remember high school. I was I don't know, maybe in the freshman year. I was 5'10", maybe, I don't know, 6 foot. And the shorter guys. If I was your height, I'd be dunking all over the place.
No, you wouldn't be.
I'm like, no, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
You really wouldn't. Like, because you're 3 inches shorter than I am, and you're 6 inches away from dunking. So,
right.
The math ain't mathing.
No.
The math ain't mathing.
I remember my ex-girl said that to me, Tone, because you've seen me before, so you know how tall I am. And I had a short man's complex. And she's like, that's because you've been hanging around 6'10" and 6'11" dudes half your life. That's why.
I have the same problem. I told you the when I went in for that job interview, right? Like years and years ago. Did I tell you this? When he stood up and I was like, oh no. Okay. So he's sitting at his desk and I go in and I've gone through this whole 20 interview process. And I'm sitting down in I was come out of the boardroom. I go into the CEO's office. I'm sitting down and he's like, man, I've heard such great things about you. I want to just officially, give you the job offer. He turns over the paper, slides over the contract to me so I can read it over. I read it over. I'm like, yep, it's everything that we said it was going to be. Let me just, have my people, my legal team look at it and get back to you, right? So no problem. He stands up. Now he didn't stand up, which was weird, by the way. He didn't stand up because normally when you come into an office, a person stands up and greets you. He sat there and I was brought in and I sat down. So he gets up and I'm like, oh no, this isn't gonna work. And he was like 6'9", 6'10". He goes, what's not gonna work? I go, I can't work for anyone taller than me. And he says, and he says, don't worry. He says, don't worry. I'm between our Seattle office and Detroit. And I'm going to be in LA. He goes, we'll never see each other except like on a Zoom call. I'm like, promise? He goes, yeah. It's all right. Then we're good.
Yeah, that works. That works. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm good now. Okay, that works. Otherwise, nope. You can. Here you go.
Otherwise, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Straight. Nope. I'm good.
Um,
Have this.
but yeah, I just being tall. I don't think. Well, hold on. Let's ask this question. I want to get to prime versus peak, which is what's the difference. But first, let me ask you this question: Does height matter when it comes to being a great player? Because I'm saying that it wouldn't, but then I'm thinking, can you give me your top 10?
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird,
Slower.
James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Lajuan, Diesel.
That's 7 of the 10 that are six. It might actually be 8 of the 10 that are 6'9" or taller. That's 7 of the 10 for sure that are 6'10" or taller.
James.
I didn't count James.
James, 6'8", 6'9".
That's it. I'm not counting James.
6'6". Okay.
I'm not counting Jordan.
Jabbar, 7'2".
Yep.
Chamberlain, 7-footer, 7'1".
Yep.
Bill Russell, 6'10".
6'10".
Magic, 6'9".
Didn't count
Bird,
him.
6'9".
Bird, 6'10".
I'm sorry, 6'10". Duncan, 7.
Duncan, yep.
Lajuan, 6'10". Diesel, 7'1". Big guys.
So 7 of your 10. So I don't know. Maybe it does.
Well, you know how I feel about the big guy, Tone. I mean,
so maybe Trae Young just misspoke. Maybe not if he was 6'8". If he was 6'10", he'd be the greatest.
But here's the difference, though.
Would that create less turnovers? Would that create less turnovers?
That's the thing, man. Because that's like telling Tone, if I'm blind, I've never seen before. I don't know what anything looks like because I've never seen before. You're telling me that if we turn you into being 6'8", we got to take all of that other stuff away because you've only played at 6'1". So you only know how to play at 6'1". You got to learn how to be 6'8". You got to learn how to walk at 6'8". You got to learn how to handle at 6'8".
Now, I think what he's saying though is with my skill set, if I took the exact same skill set, my handle, my speed, my everything, and put it into a 6'8" person, or do you think we never even talked about this? Do you think this was just a shot, and we didn't catch it? It's just a shot at
LeBron James.
Probably. You probably can make that argument. Like if James was 6'1", would he be this awesome?
Because I've heard that a lot. I've heard if James was Jordan's size, because of his skill set, he'd just be an average player. But if Jordan was 6'8" and they all keep their exact attributes, he'd be even better. Have you heard? I don't know if you've heard this one before.
I've never heard that because, to be honest with you, being 2'2", well, James is 6'9", so with him being that tall,
and there's an argument that Jordan's only 6'5", but everybody lies about how freaking tall they are.
Of course they are. Yeah, of course they are.
You're the only one who lies. Actually, you and Kevin Durant are the only two I know who lie about actually being shorter than you are.
But anyway.
You're 6'4", and you always say you're 6'3", and I'm 6'3", and you're half an inch taller. So at minimum, you're 6'3" and a half. And Kevin Durant is 7 foot.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 6'9". No, you're not.
I thought he was 6'10". That's what I thought he was. The whole 7 foot thing. That's of course until I seen him.
Listen, that dude is 6'13". Okay.
I don't know if I hate that because my man Roy, my man Roy seen him.
He doesn't want to be 7 foot. He's 6'13".
My man Roy seen him and he said, and my man Roy is 6'8". He's 6'7". My man Roy is 6'7". And he told me that KD is significantly taller than him. And I'm like, word? Yeah, he's significantly taller. So does height matter, Tone? Yes, height matters because when I'm 6'10", or when I'm 6'5" as opposed to 6 feet, my skill set, there's things that I can do at 6'5" that give me an advantage as opposed to being 6 foot. If I'm 6 foot, I can't really stop and pop on you like I'd really like to. If I'm 6'5" and I got a smaller dude on me, or even if I got a guy on me my size, I can shoot over him. If I'm 6'6", I can, and I got a guy my size, I can shoot over him. I can go to the basket and finish more at 6'6". I won't argue that. But I also
let me stop you there and ask. So Kevin Durant, all the exact same skill set. 6'2". Who's he shooting over? Because isn't that his greatest strength? Is that no matter where he is on the court, he can shoot over whoever is in front of him.
Yeah, and him being 6'10", then I mean it is way different. But KD's so nice with the peel that KD wasn't KD.
No. I disagree.
Now, when I say nice with the peel, Tone, I ain't talking about, he's throwing the ball between his legs 8-9 times. He's nice enough. He's nice enough where he can
get who's 7 foot.
Yeah, but he's nice enough. Even if he's 6'2", but if he's 6'2", 6'3", he can make enough. He can create with that handle that he has enough space where he can shoot over.
Do you think he has good enough handle for it to be as a 6'3"? Like no change as a 6'3" guard. He has.
Yes.
Oh, I don't think so.
Absolutely, because I see again, Tone. You did the same thing with me when it came to James. Talking about I'm comparing James to what James used to be. You're forgetting what KD used to be. The athlete that he used to be. He's older now. He's slowed down more.
Yeah, but I don't know that I ever looked at KD and I was like, man, he's got great handle. It's always, wow, he's got great handle for a guy his size.
Right.
So if I eliminate for a guy his size, I could name 20 guys, 30 guys that have better handle than he does.
Yep.
Right.
That's a tough one, Tone.
I think so. I think so. Do you want to? Dominique Brown is in. He's going to yell at me about the Sixers, or do you want to tell me the difference between prime and peak first?
Real quick, the difference between prime.
I know
and
you've
peak,
been talking about this for a couple of days now. Peak and prime.
Yeah. So your prime is what you've done, sustained for a decade, for 8-9 years. That's your prime. Your peak is. Most guys that I've seen, their peak is probably 3 or 4 years. This is the best version of you. You being in your prime, this is a version of you that's better than everybody else in your area. And then this is the peak version of you. So your peak is not as long as your prime. I could still get, like, for example, Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo, I think I'm in peak Bam years. I probably could get another 2, maybe 3 more years of this Bam. But when Bam turns 31, when he turns 32, I'm still in prime Bam. And he doesn't turn into mush where he's 12 or 13 a game. No, I still think I can get 18, 19 a game and 10 rebounds. I think that this Bam, I think I could get a couple of 20 and 10 seasons at peak Bam, at his best.
I drew you a picture. I was listening to every word you said, but I drew you a picture because I always like to draw when I'm here. So this is my rendition. Yep. So this line here is a player, right? Year one, right? Yep. Starts to get better. Here's those prime years.
Yep.
And then there's that drop off at the end.
Yep.
Peak career starts off, it gets higher, and then the drop off is earlier. So this is like Dwayne Wade, right? And this is like I don't want to say I'll say LeBron, right? It's although LeBron's probably still up here, but maybe not LeBron. Give me another player. Give me another player that had like and then a gradual decline. So what would you rather have? I guess. What would you rather have? That 2 to 4 year peak that's higher, or that sustained greatness for longer?
I do. I want the other guy, and the reason why is because I feel like there's more window for me to do more with that guy. When I got John Stockton is a prime example of that, where I got 12 years of sustained greatness. Now I might get 2 or 3 years where it's this, but I'm gonna get 10 years of 16 and 13. I'll take that over. I'll take that over 3 or 4 years of 22 and 12.
So yeah, do you want Karl Malone or Dwight Howard?
I'll take Malone. Yes.
Do you want Tim Duncan or Hakeem Olajuwon?
I think that they both were at the same. I got Duncan over Olajuwon, and that's hard. Yeah. I'll take Duncan.
I'm trying to find like the Dwight Howard one. I thought was do you want Dwight
how about
Howard?
This one, Tony? Do I want Do I want Derrick Rose for the time that I got Derrick Rose more than I want what Russell Westbrook gave me? I'm going to take Russ.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll take Russ.
I don't want either, but see that it depends on it. For me, it depends on how high that peak is. Right? Like I see what you're saying about John Stockton, but I'm taking the shorter career and the higher peak of Magic Johnson every time.
I did get, even though Irv gave me 12 years, 10 of those 12 years were prime years, and I ended up getting maybe 3 or 4 prime years. Maybe Magic, I got 87, 88.
Well, look, you're not going to get someone who's just terrible and then they peak and they suck after. Like it's going to be.
No, that's not going to happen. No, it's going to be this. It's going to be this.
So do you want 20 years of John Stockton's prime or 10 years of Magic's prime and peak?
I'll take 10 years of Irv.
10 years of Irv. All right, let me get yelled at for a minute.
What up?
Speak on it.
Yo. What's up, show? What's up, Fluent? Yo. Yeah, man, you already know what I'm here for, man. Just trying to figure out what's the logic behind Philly being a 500 team.
Because I don't think Paul George is going to fit well into what they're trying to do. I don't think he has the capability to play the defensive style that Nick Nurse will want. And unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong on this, I don't think Embiid is, if healthy, is going to be happy. And I think an unhealthy or an unhappy Embiid is going to create a situation where they just don't win a lot of games.
So you saying Embiid is not going to be happy because he's not going to get the shots? What was that?
Yeah. I think Paul George, unless Paul George does completely different of what he's ever done before, and he's like, I'm going to be, even though he says I'm the second guy, he needs to be healthy. He needs to be a facilitator. He needs to play defense. I don't think he can do all three of those things.
Could Tobias do those things?
You believe? No, but they weren't that good with Tobias Harris.
So let me tell you this: when Embiid was healthy, they were on pace to have the second best record in the league.
When
behind Boston
healthy, see how you had to add that.
If Embiid ain't healthy, then like Chill was saying, it don't even matter. I mean,
so I'm expecting Embiid and Paul George to be healthy, and Paul George to reclaim who he was 4 years ago for them to be really successful. I don't think all those things will happen. Again, I want to be wrong because I really like Joel Embiid, and I hope that they are. I just don't see it happening.
So last year Embiid missed half the season, though, right? That's that was a major injury. Embiid get like knick-knack injuries usually, but he don't usually get a major injury.
He had the same
That's not every year.
He had the same injury the year before in the playoffs. That's why he missed the Brooklyn series.
But that's in the playoffs. I'm saying like throughout the regular season.
He had it all year. It just got worse in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't get to the extent that it got last season where he had to not play for half the season and get surgery. That don't happen every.
He missed the playoff series, even though y'all didn't need him against Brooklyn, but he missed the playoff series, and it was already bad.
Well, he played in that playoff series.
He played one game, I think.
I forget how many games he played. I think it was more than one game.
To be honest with you, you didn't need him to sweep Brooklyn. Y'all didn't even need him because y'all was gonna beat them anyway, with or without Joel Embiid on the floor.
But here's what I'm gonna say. Watch. You ready? 72, 62, 73, 74, 70. That's the amount of games Tobias Harris played since the 2019-2020 season, excuse me. 48, 54, 31, 56, 74 is Paul George. So if I'm looking at those averages and I'm thinking I got a guy who plays 50 games versus a guy who plays 70 games, even though Paul George is a better player than Tobias Harris will play more games and he will play a role. He'll accept a role better, in my opinion, than Paul George, because Paul George, at the end of the day, I still think he thinks he's a star player, and he's not. And by star player, I mean a guy who can give you. I know he gave you 70 last year, but they're looking. I'm assuming you're a Sixers fan, so you guys are looking for Paul George to be the number 2, yeah?
No.
Okay.
I mean, some people might say that. It depends on the night to night.
He think it's Maxey.
You think it's Maxey's your number 2, and Paul George is going to be comfortable being the number 3?
I think the way they're looking at it is Paul George and Tyrese Maxey is ascending stars. So they looking at it. Whoever got it going, like Embiid is always going to be the number 1. But whoever got it going after that is just who want to have, who they're going to go to. So if Maxey got it going, they're going to go to Maxey.
No. You know what that tells me? That's unstable, because what happens when both of them don't have it going? Because that's more likely. That doesn't sound like I'm counting on these two dudes to have it going. Like whoever got it going tonight. No.
I mean, you can make that argument about any team in the league, though.
No, I can't. I can't make that argument about the Boston Celtics. It's not if this dude got it going or that dude got it going. No, we can't.
Let me go. Hold on one more sec, because I want to give you more. So 2019-2020 season. Okay, 2019-2020. 51, 51, 68, 66, 39. So you're going to have these guys, if you're lucky, and they all are healthy at the same time, you're going to be lucky to have them for 60 games. So there's still 20 games that you're not going to have these guys all together. So even if they go 40-20 in those 60 games they're together, they're going to win what? They're going to win the same as last year, 45, 47 games. That puts them, 7 seed that they were last year, 7 seed. Is that good? Is that an improvement from Tobias Harris? I don't think it. Again, I'm not saying as a player, but as a team, as a collective, I don't know that moves the needle. Nick Nurse is not the type of guy, by the way. If you go back historically, I'm sure going to try to change. He's not a guy who gives rest, right? He's like the Tom Thibodeau school, where my starters play extended minutes. This isn't a team that's built for that.
Yeah, but you got. They did add Drummond. They do got some solid, some other solid.
That was big. Yes, that was a good move.
I don't think that's a free agent signing that people talking about nearly enough. I do like Drummond. Like I said, I do like Drummond. I will say that.
Like I'm not saying that the Sixers aren't capable of being a 500 team, but it's going to be tough for them to be a 500 team. Like you realize, like a lot has to go wrong for them to be 500 team. Like, I don't think people understand how good the 76ers are, particularly in the regular season. Now, if we talking playoffs, that's different. But particularly in the regular season, they're probably gonna look like a juggernaut at some points in the season.
Until
the playoffs, or until someone gets hurt.
No, I ain't even talking about the playoffs. Until
someone gets hurt. Until not if, when George misses time, when Embiid misses time, Drummond. Like I said, I like Drummond, but he's not the same Drummond. He's what?
The difference with the 76ers, even when and Dominic knows this as a 76er fan, when you add Paul George, when you add Kelly Oubre, when you have KJ Martin, when you have Kyle Lowry, and you have all of these other guys, everything you guys do is predicated on Joel Embiid. You run your entire offense through him. He's responsible for everything you guys do offensively, whether he's getting the ball at the top, whether he's getting the ball on the block. He might not be the passer that Joker is, but everything that you guys do offensively and defensively, he's your anchor on defense. He's your best rebounder. He's your best rim protector. Everything that you guys do is predicated on Joel Embiid. So for you to say that these things have to go drastically wrong, actually, no, they don't. It's just one guy. It's just one guy. This one guy, if this thing doesn't go right, you guys go to pieces. We already saw that when Joel Embiid went out of the lineup. To be honest with you, Dominic, and I don't think I'm in the minority when I say this, when Joel Embiid went out of the lineup, were you on the fence about y'all making the playoffs?
Definitely, yeah. They suck. They're hard.
To be honest, let me ask you a question. I got a lot of heat for that.
47 wins. I know that's not exactly 500, that's 41 wins, but 47 wins, would you not kind of say, well, it's kind of like a 500 team if they won 45 games?
So how many wins did the Knicks get last season?
The Knicks last season, I think they won 50. I think they won 50. No, they didn't win 50 games. I'm sorry. Even though they did end up with the number 3 seed. The
No,
Knicks,
they had 50.
They won 50 games exactly. No, they won 50 games.
50 exactly.
50 games exactly. 50.
So this is why I think people are overrating the Knicks and even the Celtics to an extent, and they're underrating teams like the Bucks and the Sixers. Embiid missed half the season and the Sixers finished 3 games behind the Knicks.
Right.
You know, like this is what and Knicks and the Knicks were celebrating that 50 win.
Well, here's the difference, Dominic. I don't want you to keep going, but the difference is the East has gotten a lot better than what it's been. This ain't the Eastern Conference from 2012 or 2005. No, this ain't that Eastern Conference anymore. So when I hear people saying stuff, the East is weak. No, that goes in one ear out the other. That's nonsense. The East is more top heavy than what it was in years past. It's a lot better than what it was in years past. However, when you're talking about the teams that are in the East, Philadelphia, for example, what you guys are predicated on, I can't see Joel Embiid going out of the lineup and Paul George carrying you to 50 wins like when Julius Randle went out of the lineup and Jalen Brunson carrying that team to 50 wins. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, that's worst case scenario though. Worst case scenario, Embiid missed a ton of time and they finished 500 or barely make the playoffs. That was last season. Last season was worst case scenario. So I guess if we making that argument that you think, then I mean, I can't argue with Tone on that. I mean, if he think that, you know, it's going to be worst case scenario, then it is what it is.
Mine's more on the Paul George thing, because I think we don't talk enough about like chemistry on teams, and I just feel I just don't think they're going to mesh, and that's what I think is going to hurt them as much, if not more, than the injury stuff. Because Embiid could very well play 75 games. And
Dominic, you know how I feel about Joel Embiid. I think he's good enough to take y'all to the NBA championship. I just think he made a glass. That's my problem with him.
I've told you. I think he's got one. Remember when we talked about who's the best player in the NBA? I said I struggle to find his weaknesses other than health.
I think he's good enough to take you guys to the NBA championship.
Yeah,
I just think he's made a glass. That's my problem with him.
I wouldn't say glass, more like bad.
He was broken when he came in, so
I think most Philly fans. I think most Philly fans would agree with Chill on that.
I don't know about glass.
We don't trust his durability.
And here's the other thing. And I like Nick Nurse as a coach, but I don't like a coach who plays his players too many minutes. Remember the last season that he was coaching the Raptors, his players, 3 of his starters were top 5 in minutes played. A coach who runs his team that many minutes and expects that much on the defensive end when you're throwing out Maxey, George, and Embiid. Yeah. I don't think those two things will work. Like they won 47 games last year. Embiid missed a ton of time, so they made it work. But it's not something that is long lasting. You start that type of coach. He wears out his welcome typically sooner than later. And so I think if you're doing this to a Paul George, Embiid's probably already on his. Listen. I feel bad for Embiid because he's probably already sitting there going, man, we had Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris and and you blew up that team. And then you brought me James Harden, or you brought me Ben Simmons. Then you brought me James Harden. Now you're bringing me Paul George. At some point, he's going to be like, enough, dude. You guys don't know what you're doing.
Real quick before you go.
Sir, go ahead.
Real quick before you go, Dominic, that 2018-2019 team that lost to Toronto on that buzzer beater, how far away were you guys in your estimation?
I mean, I think they were close. I just don't think Embiid was in his prime yet. I think people were overhyping the Sixers at that period in time. Like people were thinking that they were better than what they were. And I think Toronto had a perfect mixture of vets. Like basically the Sixers were in those games in that series just based off of talent. It wasn't because of anything else. The team didn't even get a chance to mesh yet. I think Butler came in like the middle of the season, like at the trade deadline, or was that Tobias Harris? I think it was Tobias Harris, either Tobias Harris or Butler.
You had Butler in the middle. You got Butler at the beginning of the season.
I think Jay's point is this: they should have kept that team together, right?
Yeah, I don't think y'all were that far away. I don't.
I think the next year you guys, you're that team.
I don't. Dominic, good to talk to you, brother.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Salute.
Andrew. No, who we got? Andre, the King.
What's up, brother?
And City Sports.
What's going on? It's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
You're right,
I can't speak the Tibbs slander. I'm going. You've been slandering Tibbs, so I got to start strong with what I'm hearing about my man Tom Thibodeau. Now you made some good points. I don't make this clear. The Knicks are winning the East this year. The Knicks are winning the East. We can come back to this. Winning the Eastern Conference. You can quote me. We will timestamp it. It's 10:41 on the Eastern time on September 10th, 2020. The Knicks are going to win the East. We can just start with that.
Hey, Andre, I'm going to double down on you. Andre, I'm going to double.
We winning the East. We winning the East.
Wait. Can I say one thing?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
All right, go ahead.
Andre, I'm going to double down.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
If the Knicks win the East, they win in the NBA championship.
Oh yeah, it's coming through the Garden.
I'll tell you this: if the Knicks win the East, I'm taking Andre to a Knicks game on me.
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm gonna get on I-95 South. I already got my waist.
If the Knicks win the Eastern Conference, they're winning the NBA championship.
Now that I know how to get to New York and that I'm a great driver in the city, good.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. I'm gonna double back in terms of how that's gonna happen and why it's gonna happen. Right. But this talk about minutes, tone sports. You know what I mean? I see Nick Nurse playing guys a lot of minutes. Let's just make this clear, okay? Mikal Bridges is gonna play all 82 games this year, as he does, and he's gonna play 35 to 40 minutes a game, and he's locking y'all up. Clink, clink, clink. He locking y'all down. Jalen Brunson is on a different plan, and my man, who am I forgetting here? OG's on a different plan. OG's only playing 65 games. We resting OG. 65 games max for him. And Jalen Brunson, maybe 70. Maybe we get him up, you know what I mean? But we're going to give him the rest because we got my man Tyler Kolek, the pride of Rhode Island. Put that on your mind, Andre. The pride of Rhode Island, who's NBA ready, coming out of Marquette, is gonna be there in the mix. And we have McBride and we have some other guys that are gonna spell Jalen Brunson. And obviously Julius Randle's gonna get his rest. But the Nova boys, La Cosa Nova, DiVincenzo, every night he's ready. Josh Hart, every night he's ready. And you know what my man Mikal Bridges is going to do because he doesn't go for the load management foolishness. He has the best job on the face of the earth, and he shows up to work every day. He puts his hard work hat on, and he handles business. Now, we have to go further into this. Tone, how many games did my man John Stockton miss in his 19, 20 years careers? How many games did he miss? Exactly. Less than 30. Less than 30 games. Okay, 16 times he played every single game of the year. I'm raising my voice. I don't know if that.
Do you know how many games Bridges has averaged over the last 3 seasons?
80. What?
I don't think he's missed a game.
82.333.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's missed a game in the last 3 years.
He played 82, 82.
Yeah, I don't think he's missed a game.
New look.
You know what that means? That means he's due.
Yeah, no. Every single game, and he's playing. Okay, because again, all of this, you know what I mean? Analytics, foolishness. A pitcher has a perfect game going in the 7th inning, but we got to take him out. Nonsense. Okay, you get better at basketball by playing basketball. So John Stockton, let's just remember this. Every single game for 16 years, he missed 22 games in a 2-year span. Like 1 year, he missed like 16 games. But in 19 years, he missed less than 30 games. Where is the wear and tear? He's out there coaching his kids' teams, even though his kids are in college. You can play high minutes consistently throughout the course of your career and be fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's talk about my man.
Let's talk about next year, though, because I'll do my best Wilt Chamberlain impersonation. This is how many games Bridges is playing next year.
Heck no, 82. He's playing every single night. And then Tone, I had to dig in the crates. Because we know that only the strong will survive. I had to dig in the crates, okay? My man Allen Iverson, who's the poster child for showing up to work every day. We talk about practice, man. Not a game. Not a game.
He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that.
Talking about practice, Tone. My man Allen Iverson. What did he give him in the year they went to the championship, 2001? 42 minutes a game. What did he give him the next year? 43.7. The next year, 42.5. Played all 82 games in 2003. You can go all the way to 2008 when he's with the Denver Nuggets. Played all 82 games, average basically 42 minutes a game. You get better at basketball.
Until AI gives me my ankles back, we got beef. So keep going.
So Tony,
I'm still mad, Jay. I'm still mad.
You make an argument about Nick Nurse and his style,
Yes.
and point taken, because Joel Embiid is not built for that. Also, by the way, Tone, Joel Embiid is not built for the pace and space that Nick Nurse likes to play at. Okay, so they're running up and down more, so he's got to certainly be on a minutes restriction. You have to treat him differently. 65 games is the most for him, and just make sure that he's healthy come playoff time. All right, but back to La Cosa Nova and my Knicks and the slander. I'm keeping all these doggone receipts. Okay, people, the reason the Knicks are is because they work harder than players during the regular season. Yes, we do, and we're going to, and that's why we're going to get the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, because we're taking no doggone days off. Look, the Celtics.
Did you hear what I said? My prediction of where they're going to finish.
Well, I just okay.
Did you hear what I said?
I didn't. I might have missed it. I got caught up in the last slander. I'm saying number 1.
Okay.
I'm saying number 1, 2 at the 2. Okay, 2, fine, behind Boston. And even though I'm a diehard, based on the Celtics are still the favorites. The Celtics are. I'm not saying Celtics are not the favorites because they have a dynastic team, but I am going. The Knicks, we would have pushed them to 7 if we had Julius Randle this year. You add Mikal Bridges to this team. We keep the last OG. Hopefully, Julius Randle. And by the way, the Julius Randle, the disappearing act that he's had in the playoffs, and him spending too much time at the 40-40 club with Jay-Z, being a little too sensitive in New York, he's going to shine more. Because look, it's not about you.
So I just want to be clear. So the Knicks, everyone's going to be healthy. Everyone's going to play their best. Everyone's going to be just like there's going to be
no problems. Sounds like we're going to win the NBA championship.
Yeah, we're going to have no problems. You know who had no problems, Tone? You know who had no problems? The Boston Celtics this year, and they ran the table. Yeah,
that's not true. That's not true, Andre. That is not true.
Crispy missed a game here and a game there. Outside of that, everyone was there.
They had him for 4 games in the playoffs. What are you talking about, right? He missed almost the whole playoffs. And he only played 57. And he played only 57 games in the season. That's number 1.
You gotta go back to those crates.
Drew Holiday missed 17 games this season that just passed. Jason Tatum was the guy who played the most. He's the guy who played the most. Now, your idea...
Can the Knicks handle that? Can the Knicks handle their Porzingis, so their 3rd or 4th best guy, missing that much?
How about just losing Mitchell Robinson, Tone, for 20 games? How about that?
Again, with Mitchell, I'm saying that we will be able... I already told you, so Brunson's going to rest. Mitchell, the guys that have had injury problems. And look at the money that Isaiah Hartenstein got. When you play for a true general and Tom Thibodeau, those guys, precious he's going to build up guys to come in behind them, and we will get a backup center on a team friendly deal.
I told you, Andre, who your guy is. Call up the Trailblazers and ask for Robert Williams. They'll hand him over for a bucket of extra crispy and a 6-pack. I'm telling you,
Robert Williams, come on down. Even though he's had the knee problems, we're going to get a backup center that when they come up under Tom Thibodeau's leadership, you're going to see the same production that we've got in Hartenstein. Bottom line is this.
Robin Williams and Mitchell Robinson combined will give you a complete season, and that's all you need.
Yeah, boom. Okay, the Celtics are the favorites. This Knicks team will beat the Celtics if they're not playing their absolute best game, bottom line, all the right. We're going to beat the Celtics, okay? Andre. And I need to get rid of this talk about the minutes. I've done that. Overall, long story, not so long. You guys talking about putting players on teams and how teams are going, what team would be better filling it in this player team. Last point that I have to make. Dallas Mavericks, okay? I want them to bounce forward. Adding Klay Thompson and not have a regressive year. My only issue with the Dallas Mavericks, the team that met the Boston Celtics in the championship, is only issue with them. Let me just get it. Is are you going to get the best Kyrie Irving? Can Kyrie Irving stand his best behavior for 2 straight years?
This is what you're going to have with Dallas. In 2 years, Jay's going to look back and say, much like he said about Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers when they went to the Western Conference Finals, and then that was their peak. He's going to say they made the finals, that was their peak, and they should have blown it up because all they've done is regress ever since.
They didn't do anything to get better.
That's what you're going to tell. All they did is regress.
The 1990-91 St. Anthony's Friars, we was the best team in the country. We were the best team in the country. No doubt about it.
We know that, and that goes without saying. And we talked about the White Eagle. What's in my mind, because Coach Hurley, I keep hearing him in my mind, is I just have to, and you know the story specifically. The street stops here.
Yes, it does. Leave it outside.
How he was able, and I know how he was able to do it, and you lived it, and I've just seen it from a distance. It was those years, decades that he had working probation, working in the probation system, being a Jersey City, and so he was able to give that same sternness and structure that he had from his background in that field and bring it over into the coaching, and then his next job was with the recreation department. Just on this point, you played with Danny?
Yes, sir.
And I know you were happy to see him at the White House today, getting the pictures with UConn and so on and forth. And we both everybody knew he was turning down the money because that doesn't impress the Hurleys, and they're going for the 3-peat this year. So
no,
we had the best team in the country, Andre. We got to go, Andre. We had the best team in the country. I promise you that.
Agreed. Thanks for having me on. Team Tibbs forever. Go Knicks.
Team Tibbs forever. Go Knicks. You would have lost to the Pickering Trojans. He did not turn down the money. They didn't offer him enough money because they wanted that bum JJ Redick to be the coach.
If we being
take it away, brother. Take it away.
They did. They lowballed them. So we will see you guys soon. Thanks for having us. We will see you guys soon. You know where to find us. We are here on Chilltown Hoops Tuesday night. Me and my man Tony Tone. This is what we do. If you're looking for us, we are not hard to find. We will see you soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. Call your mother. We will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.